of 2023.
Chairperson Jailak.
Thank you once again, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move the motion that aware that the National Assembly and the Senate passed the mediated version of the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023 on Thursday, 5th of December 2024 and on Tuesday, 8th of April 2025 respectively. Further, aware that His Excellency the President had reservations and referred back the bill to Parliament on 30th of April 2025 pursuant to Article 115, Sub-Article 1B of the Constitution for reconsideration, noting that pursuant to Standing Order 171, the Speaker referred the President's memorandum and reservations to the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights on Tuesday, 6th of May 2025, cognizant that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 172, the 14 days given to the committee to consider and lay its report on the bill lapses on Tuesday, 20th of May 2025. Now, therefore, notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 172, the Senate resolves to extend the time for the consideration of the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023, by a further 45 days to enable the committee to consider the President's reservation and lay its report on the table of the Senate on or before Tuesday, the 8th of July 2025. Mr. Speaker, this motion seeks, it's a procedural motion that seeks to ask for more time and, to be specific, 45 calendar days in order to facilitate the committee to consider the reservations that was referred to this House by the President on the Conflict of Interest Bill. Remember, Mr. Speaker, the Conflict of Interest Bill began from the National Assembly, where it was passed and thereafter moved before the House, where certain considerations were made and a raft of amendments were done by the House. The report that ultimately was transmitted to the National Assembly comprised considerations and the decision of this House to amend the bill, introduce certain clauses, and deleted some clauses. Ultimately, that bill was also approved by the National Assembly, and it was sent to the President for approval and assent. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the President had reservations on the bill, and the bill was referred back to the House. Concurrently, that bill came to the Senate, and at the same time, it was sent to the National Assembly with 12 clauses that the President had rejected, giving his reservations and making proposals which the committee is supposed to consider, and thereafter the bill is referred back to the President. Mr. Speaker, under the provisions of Standing Order 171, this committee is expected to remit its report on consideration of those 12 clauses, among others, before the House at the lapse of 14 days. The committee, Mr. Speaker, has since received this communication from your desk. It has considered its report. However, it has not been able to conclude within the 14 days that the standing orders provide. And that, Mr. Speaker, is the basis upon which we are placing this motion for consideration, so that we are given another 45 calendar days within which the committee is expected to consider and remit its report back to the House. At the same breath, Mr. Speaker, there is communication that has come and has been referred to the committee from the National Assembly, which is aimed at ensuring that the process of consideration of those reservations is made neat, because the National Assembly as well as this House are expected to debate on the reservations and pass a version of the bill that has been agreed by the two houses. It only then behoves this House to grant us some time so that we have an engagement with the counterpart committee from the National Assembly, so that we agree on a version that the two houses will have on the bill. And this, Mr. Speaker, cannot and will not be able to be done within the 14 days which is lapsing today. At the same time, the National Assembly are still on recess. They are resuming, I believe, on the 26th of this month. And the standing orders in the National Assembly gives them 28 days to consider such reservations, whether from the President or otherwise, coming to the House on a bill that has been rejected. The 28 days, therefore, Mr. Speaker, means that it would require of us, even if we were to agree that we will do a joint mediation or a joint consideration of those reservations with the counterpart committee from the National Assembly, it can only be done when the period within which our standing orders provides has been enlarged, and we are therefore legally within that period. The issues, Mr. Speaker, that this procedural motion is asking is just one: give us 45 calendar days so that we can accommodate the consideration of those reservations and consider whether possible to have a joint meeting with our counterpart from the National Assembly to consider this report. Mr. Speaker, I move and I request the Honorable Senator Chimera to second this motion. Thank you.
Senator Chimera, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to second the motion as moved by my very able chair at JLAC. Mr. Speaker, this motion is pretty much straightforward, Mr. Speaker, as it speaks to the need to seek to extend the time within which the committee will be allowed time to consider the reservations as sent forward by the President. Mr. Speaker, you would notice this is the second time this bill is being referred back to Parliament for either further amendments, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what has been proposed, if you look at the reservations from the President, it raises quite serious concerns and very weighty would-be amendments, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, we wish as a committee to be allowed much more time to be able to caucus, to be able to discuss and look thoroughly into the proposed amendments and the clauses as is, Mr. Speaker, so that we can be able to come up with a much more acceptable version that will be ready for presidential assent. Mr. Speaker, for those many remarks, I wish to second the said motion, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Honorable Senators, this is a procedural motion. I may propose the question and open the floor for debate, or with your concurrence, I may proceed to put the question so that you vote on it and we proceed with other business. Do I have your concurrence that I proceed to put the question? Very well. I will now proceed to put the question. Yes. Honorable Senators, I will propose the question. That are aware that Parliament passed the Conflict of Interest Bill 2025 on Tuesday, 8th of April 2025. Further, aware that His Excellency the President had reservations and referred back the bill to Parliament on the 30th of April 2025, pursuant to Article 115, 1B of the Constitution for reconsideration. Noting that pursuant to Standing Order 171, the Speaker referred the President memorandum and reservation to the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights on Tuesday, the 6th of May 2025, cognizant that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 172, the 14 days given to the committee to consider and lay its report lapses on Tuesday, 20th of May 2025, which is today. Now, therefore, notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 172, the Senate resolved to extend the time for the consideration of the Conflict of Interest Bill 2025 by a further 45 days to enable the committee to consider the President's reservations and lay its report on the table of the Senate on or before Tuesday, the 8th of July 2024. Now, having had your concurrence before proposing the question, I will now proceed to put the question. That are aware that Parliament passed the Conflict of Interest Bill 2025 on Tuesday, 8th of April 2025. Further, aware that His Excellency the President had reservations and referred back the bill to Parliament on the 30th of April 2025, pursuant to Article 115, 1B of the Constitution for reconsideration. Noting that pursuant to Standing Order 171, the Speaker referred the President memorandum and reservation to the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights on Tuesday, the 6th of May, 2025. Cognizant that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 172, the 14 days given to the committee to consider and lay its report lapses on Tuesday, the 20th of May, 2025. Now, therefore, notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 172, the Senate resolves to extend the time for consideration of the Conflict of Interest Bill 2025 by a further 45 calendar days to enable the committee to consider the present reservations and lay its report on the table of the Senate on or before Tuesday, the 8th of July, 2025. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order, clerk.
Order number 9, motion, consideration of the National Assembly amendments to the Coffee Bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2023.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Senate, the committee, for taking us through this coffee bill, Honorable Speaker. This coffee bill 2023, bills number 10 of 2023, seeks to provide for the development and regulation of the coffee industry in Kenya. The coffee bill proposes to reorganize the coffee industry by transitioning the regulatory and commercial roles currently undertaken by the Agriculture and Food Authority to the Coffee Board of Kenya. The bill further seeks to transition the research of coffee currently undertaken by the Coffee Research Institute under the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization to the Coffee Research Institute. The Coffee Bill 2023, Honorable Speaker, Bills number 10 of 2023, was published on 10th March 2023 and read for the first time in the Senate on Tuesday, 11th April 2023. And further, the bill stood committed to the Senate Standing Committee on Livestock, Agriculture and Fisheries for consideration. The bill was advertised in the Daily Nation and Standard newspapers on 15th June 2023. The bill was passed in the Senate with amendments on 1st August 2024 and thereafter referred to the National Assembly, where it was passed with amendments on 26th November 2024. The bill was referred back to Senate on 19th November 2024. Subsequently, the Speaker of the Senate conveyed the message of referral of the bill and amendments to the House on 3rd December 2024, and further referred the National Assembly amendments to the committee to consider and table a report in the Senate. Following the referral, the committee considered the National Assembly amendments to the bill on 25th and 26th of March 2025 and made the following observations and recommendations. The committee observes as follows, Honorable Speaker. Limiting the role of Agriculture and Food Authority, the bill seeks to amend the Crops Act 2013 so that to unbundle the regulation and management of coffee that falls within the ambit of the Agriculture and Food Authority and establish a standalone agency for its regulations. The committee took note that the transfer of coffee management to AFA has not improved the sector in any significant way. The bill therefore proposes to reorganize the coffee industry by transitioning the regulatory and commercial roles currently undertaken by the Agriculture and Food Authority AFA to Coffee Board of Kenya. In this way, coffee will have a specialized institution to handle the operative affairs as opposed to the current structure where AFA is handling hosts of other scheduled crops. Critical role of the coffee crop. The committee stressed on the importance of the coffee crop both locally and globally. The coffee export is the fifth foreign exchange earner after tourism, tea, horticulture, and remittances from diaspora. Coffee is the second most traded commodity in the world after oil and is one of the most strategic cash crops contributing to Kenya's economic growth. Coffee is one of the major crops in Kenya, coming third after tea and horticultural produce. Decline in the market dominance, Honorable Speaker. The committee further noted that even with the decline over the years, the coffee industry injected billions of shillings in the country's gross domestic product over the years. Therefore, the enactment of the bill is key in reviving the industry. County government and functions. Honorable Speaker, the committee observed that most of the amendments were undermining the role of county government in the agriculture sector. Since agriculture is devolved in function, it is essential to ensure that the provisions of the bill accurately reflect this by ensuring that county governments are responsible in implementing agricultural policies and programs. Assignment of roles. The effective performance of devolved functions require clear assignment of responsibilities to a specific office to ensure accountability. The County Executive Committee, CEC, plays a pivotal role in policy formulation. In this case, the body responsible for policy decisions in this county executive committee, where such decisions are made collectively. Additionally, the committee noted that the policy head within relevant ministries in the county executive committee member who is responsible for translating policies into actionable programs. The committee recommends that the Senate adopts the report of the committee and the Senate adopts the committee recommendations on the National Assembly as per the attached schedule. I beg to move and request my good friend Commissioner Wamatinga to second.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to second the bill as moved by my share of Agricultural Committee. Indeed, coffee sector is one of the backbone of Kenyan economy. We have witnessed a lot of success in terms of improved prices across the country. More so, Mr. Speaker, it's good to report to this House that one of the leading factories that got the best payment is from Udaya, which got 162 kilos. This is a record payment, Mr. Speaker. Most of our factories enjoyed very good returns, and therefore, Mr. Speaker, streamlining the sector, ensuring that we see the leakages, ensuring that we put sound regulations that will regulate and operationalize the value chain in coffee sector will go a long way to encouraging our farmers. Mr. Speaker, sir, as has been ably presented by my chair, it is not lost to us, Mr. Speaker, that there's been a lot of exploitation of the coffee farmers by cartels, that there's been a lot of exploitation, Mr. Speaker, because of complicated marketing structures that this bill will seek to address. On top of that, Mr. Speaker, the bill will also be seeking to mainstream by creation of a board that will ensure that the farmers get not only their due share of the coffee returns, but also do not get exploited by the cartels. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is at this age quite unfortunate that you need to regulate even the marketing, the auctioning. We that are exposed to the IT technology, we know that you do not need to have an office, nor do you need to have a license to be able to buy anything from Amazon. And this is one of the approaches that we are going to use to ensure that the coffee farmers can sell their crop where they want, when they want, and at a price that they've agreed on. Moreover, Mr. Speaker, we know that most of the coffee farmers have sold their crop, but also have to wait for so long to get paid, and therefore do not get money to till their farms. Mr. Speaker, this bill seeks to address some of these shortcomings and therefore encourage coffee farming. But as also we do that, Mr. Speaker, I must also urge my colleagues, and more so those who come from coffee farming area, that it is time now that we start talking to coffee farmers, because we know that the average age of coffee farmers is 50 years and above, and we need to get a strategy of mainstreaming young generation so that we do not have a gap when these aging farmers exit the market. Mr. Speaker, that said, it must also be pointed out that the unfortunate practice of subdividing pieces of land into small segments has also made coffee farming quite unproductive. Achieving economies of scale where you have tilling a very small piece of land, Mr. Speaker, is something that's becoming a major challenge. It has also become a major challenge for the farmers to be able to access the markets and the markets that they would want to sell their coffee because of the reducing volumes from each factory. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, as we talk about improving the regulations around the coffee bill, as we talk about mainstreaming the young generation towards coffee farming, we must also address and we must also be quite intentional about getting value addition so that we do not only sell coffee as beans but also as finished product, to ensure that we create employment within the coffee sector, we create employment along the value chain, but most important, Mr. Speaker, that Kenyans also get to enjoy the good coffee that is one of the best qualities in the world. Mr. Speaker, I second.
Honorable Senators, the motion having been moved and seconded, I will now proceed to propose the question that the National Assembly amendments to the Coffee Bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2023, be now considered. Now the floor is open for debate. The Honorable Ledama Olekina. So gather your thoughts. The Honorable Alexander Mundigi.
Asante Bwana Spika, naunga mkono mjadala ambaye unahusikana na mambo ya kilimo ambaye ni ya kahawa. Katika Kenya siku hizi tunaweza kusherekea mambo ya kilimo kwa sababu mambo ya kilimo iko katika devolution katika county government, na pia tunashukuru serikali ya Kenya Kwanza vile imekuwa ikiangalia vile mkulima ataweza kufaidika. Bwana Spika, tunagundua wakati hii serikali iliingia kahawa, ilikuwa hata watu wengi walikuwa na majaribu kukata kahawa katika masinani na kupanda vitu zingine. Lakini sasa tunasherekea wakati huu. Tumeona kaunti zingine mambo ya kilimo ya kahawa Unakuta factory zingine kahawa inatoka shilingi 150, zingine shilingi 130 na kutoka shilingi 40. Kwa hivyo ninaunga mkono tuweze kuangalia vile mkulima ataweza kufaidika. Kwa sababu tunakumbuka wakati wa sabani, Bwana Spika, mambo ya kahawa, wakati wazazi wetu wa zamani walikuwa nafunzwa, zile county ilikuwa nalima mambo ya kahawa, ilikuwa ni mambo ambaye ilikuwa ya kusherekea sana, unakuta familia zao zilikuwa naenda vizuri, lakini kwa miaka ingine iliyopita mambo ilikuja ikageuka, lakini sasa tunasherekea kwa sababu rais wa Kenya ambaye ni William Ruto alikuja akaunganisha watu wote pamoja, Bwana Spika, na akasema mambo ya katero siweze kuondolewa, akaondoa usuru mambo mingi, lakini sasa tunajivunia. Kwa hivyo mimi naunga mkono Bwana Spika, tukienda vile tunaendelea, mkulima wa kahawa katika Kenya mzima atakuwa anajivunia na itakuwa inatoka karibu shilingi 200. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, naunga mkono. Sio kahawa peke yake, kuna mambo mengi tunafaa tuyaunge mkono. Kuna mambo ya majani, makandamia, maembe na pia avocados, hata mirazi tukumbuka. Kwa sababu katika nchi ya Kenya mambo ya kazi imekosekana. Shule nyingi wazazi wengi wamekosa pesa ya kupeleka watoto shule, lakini hata wale watoto wetu wamesoma vizuri na wakasoma shule hata ya juu na wakapata vyuo vikuu ya digrii, imekuwa hakuna kazi. Lakini tukiendelea vile utakuta katika Kenya kaunti 47 mambo ya kilimo itaweza kuwa kipaumbele. Kwa hivyo ni kuomba watu wote county government, kwa sababu katika mambo ya kilimo iko katika county government. Tumeona governor wengine na ofisasi wengine wasaidii mambo ya kilimo. Bwana Spika, nikiongea mambo ya kahawa, wiki jana tulitembea huko katika Bungoma na Kisumu, lakini tukaangalia governors na wengine, unakuta wakati watu wengine wanajifunika kahawa inatoka shilingi 145, unakuta kaunti zingine kahawa inatoka shilingi 35. Unakuta maziwa kaunti zingine inatoka shilingi 52. Unakuta kaunti zingine maziwa inatoka shilingi 40. Kwa hiyo ni mambo ya kuhusunisha, kwa sababu kumekuwa mataberi. Una wengine wale watu wako wanasimamia mambo ya vyama. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, ningeomba mambo mengi iweze kuainishwa, na tukifanya hivyo mkulima wa kahawa na wakulima wale wa vitu zile zingine watafaidika vizuri. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, mimi naunga mkono nikiwa senator wa Embu County, na ninafurahia katika Embu County mambo ya kahawa iko kipaumbele. Kwa hivyo ni ya mwisho ni kuomba county government na agriculture fertilizer iweze kutengenezwa, iweze kupelekwa mashinani, ndio tuweze kujivunia mambo ya kilimo. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, nikiwa senator wa Embu County, mimi naunga mkono. Ni mimi Daktari Alexander Munyimundigi. Asante Bwana Spika.
Senator Omtata.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to contribute to the motion that has been put on the floor on the coffee bill. I've looked at the amendments proposed by the National Assembly. Most of it are largely technical in nature, and I hope that the committee, when it goes to the committee, they'll be able to interrogate them in detail, and they seem to be supportive of the bill. And so we should be able to finalize this bill, because the bill is extremely important to the economy of this country. Coffee growing, right from the colonial days, was made a political crop, and we hope that with this bill, we will look into studies that have suggested that Nyanza and Western Kenya, that is Homa Bay, Siaya, Kisumu, Kakamega, Busia, Migori counties, have very high potential of producing very high quality coffee. These studies are documented, so we would request that as they look at this bill, we hope that this bill will be able to unlock the potential of these crops, because as you can see, the sugar barons have already invaded Western Kenya, and they have made mincemeat of the sugar industry. There's hardly that there. So I support, and I pray that the committee will give its best attention. And as I'm still on my feet, I want to raise a matter of great concern to the Senate in terms of our emergency preparedness. Today, I just learned that we are sitting ducks. Should an emergency happen where you need an intervention from a medic, I just learned that the Senate does not have an emergency department. or the parliament. We don't have even just a first aid. We have to rely on St. John's ambulance to get first aid. So the challenge we had this morning should be an eye-opener. It also occurred to me that we do not have the Bunge Tower, high as it is, does not have a lift where a stretcher can fit. We are only lucky that the emergency we had today happened on the first floor. So we're able to carry the victim using a stretcher by the staircase. Imagine if it had happened at the top of that building, what would have happened? So I think it was a terrible thing. Whoever designed, I think time has come for us to hold people to account. That building cannot continue being like that. When I leave my office, I have to go and look for a shoe shiner to shine my shoes because the carpet gets off and sticks on my shoes. I need a service of a shoe shiner when leaving my office. It's very, very sad. Whoever designed that building, these people need to be arrested and locked away. Right from people who designed it, those people who supervised it, people who stood for it. We know that people who made millions of shillings out of that building. We know that people in this house who bought houses in Karen.
Senator Omtata, I just want to know, we are in order number 9.
Yes.
Debating the amendments as proposed by the National Assembly on the coffee bill. I'm struggling to find relevance. It's a heavy matter you're raising, but I'm just struggling to find relevance with what you're saying and the matter at hand.
Yes,
I'll give you an opportunity maybe later on to ventilate on the very important matter you're raising. But for now, just restrict yourself to order number 9.
Okay, going back to the question of coffee, we also realize that coffee is a political crop. It's an international crop, a political crop that requires heavy lobbying, and value addition for us should be a very important consideration. We cannot continue exporting raw beans or exporting raw leaves and then re-importing finished products. I think when you consider this bill, I'll be requesting that those responsible take it upon themselves to make sure that the question of value addition is seriously addressed, and we see how this country can we should even maybe make it illegal like European countries have done, that you cannot export raw material. So that we can try to just make sure that we do whatever it takes to export finished products from Kenya. This idea of raw materials has created poverty among our farmers. If you see what the farmer takes, you go to central Kenya where they're growing coffee, you look at what the farmer takes home against a tin of Nescafe, you find that this farmer hardly makes anything. So let us really try to think of how we can invest in the coffee industry, the chain, the value addition systems and the factories and whatever, so that we can begin creating Kenyan coffee, selling it as a finished product, and ensuring that we get maximum value from the raw material. The value addition, sometimes most of the value is in value addition and not necessarily in raw material. But I pray, Mr. Speaker, that these studies that have come up showing that there are many, many areas of this country that can grow coffee and do it profitably are also looked at, and investments prepared for it, so that the culture and the fear and the politics of coffee locally can be opened up to many sectors, and we develop a proper industry, right from the farm to the coffee cup. We have control, and we have Kenyan control. Mr. Speaker, with those few words, I thank you for the opportunity.
Senator Cheriot, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to oppose this motion. Probably it would be good for me to explain why, so that members don't think that I'm at variance with what the committee is proposing. There's a little technicality, Mr. Speaker, in how this motion is drafted, because the motion before us, as moved by the Chair of Agriculture Committee, is that the National Assembly amendments to the coffee bill be now considered. Yet, in considering the report of the committee, if you look at the report of the committee, Mr. Speaker, they're actually rejecting quite a number of those amendments. That means the committee wants us to go through a mediation process between us and the Assembly. If you consider these amendments, it means, Mr. Speaker, we have to sit as a committee of the whole, reject those amendments in the committee of the whole, then now send them to the Assembly for us to come and do a mediation, then consider those amendments again. So therefore, there wasn't proper fluency in how this motion was drafted, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, the easiest thing that I urge my colleagues to do is that for us to achieve what the committee wants us to do, which is to reject some of the amendments that were made in the Assembly, is to defeat this motion, Mr. Speaker, and therefore necessitate the formation of a mediation committee between us and the National Assembly. Then we can pass the mediated version of the bill, which will be agreed between the two houses. It's a very simple and straightforward matter, Mr. Speaker. So for that reason, I oppose this motion, Mr. Speaker, and agree to the reasoning behind the rejection of the amendments by the National Assembly, by our committee, Mr. Speaker, because coffee is not just any ordinary crop. I'm a proud representative of coffee farmers, Mr. Speaker. Hardly do farmers, and I represent coffee, tea, and sugarcane farmers in this house, Mr. Speaker. And hardly do farmers appreciate government effort in any particular industry. I think in my time here in the Senate, on only 2 or 3 occasions I've done that. In the year 2021, Mr. Speaker, when we passed the tea bill, sponsored by yours truly, and farmers began receiving their payment by 5th of every month, as opposed to the previous practice where they'd wait sometimes even for 2 months, and so many other accruing benefits, including, Mr. Speaker, the ability of farmers to vote in directors into their factories on the principle of 1 man, 1 vote, not to be confused by another mantra, Mr. Speaker, that is common in our political parlance. Farmers really appreciated and they celebrated. At that particular time, tea farmers were happy. Of course, the story is different right now, and there are challenges, serious ones that need to be addressed. Coffee farmers, Mr. Speaker, at this particular day and time, are extremely happy. When I go to parts of my county, Mr. Speaker, that has coffee growing farmers, they appreciate that at the coming into place of this administration, Mr. Speaker, they are receiving 30 shillings, sometimes even 20. As it is today, one of my largest coffee societies, the Kipkelian Coffee Society, is selling and gaining price of upwards of 140, 150, something that is unprecedented before, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, we must guard the interest of our farmers to ensure that every amendment that we move in this particular house, Mr. Speaker, serves to protect their interest more. They should actually be earning more than that. But because of middlemen, Mr. Speaker, and how the Nairobi Coffee Exchange had been handled, Mr. Speaker, there were serious challenges. And I must appreciate the efforts that have been made to get them to that level. But the bigger challenge for us, Mr. Speaker, is how do we safeguard, how do we ensure that farmers continue to gain and appreciate the value of coffee? Actually, for the very first time, there's a reverse trend in my own county. Previously, when I went to the coffee growing areas, they'd challenge me and say, the same way you guys worked hard for the tea farmers, we want to see our benefits. That was the song last term. But this term, it is now, the noise is on the tea side. They are challenging and urging, why did you guys focus too much on the coffee side? Now our tea crop has all these problems. And you know the benefits also in the sugarcane side. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, as representatives of farmers ordinarily, we need to take such bills with the seriousness that it deserves. If there is a responsibility that you can have, particularly as a senator, Mr. Speaker, because you know agriculture is a devolved function. The policies and legislative proposals that we pass in this particular house must reflect the spirit of our Constitution, ensuring that we protect the interest of our farmers, Mr. Speaker, that we pass legislation that captures the understanding that there are 2 levels of government, the national government and the county government, Mr. Speaker, and the need to thereof, as a representative of the people, to ensure that in all the conversation, the farmer doesn't get lost in all the jargon that comes up the legislative making procedure. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Committee on Agriculture for their industry. It will have been easy because I know we have gone to public forum many times, Mr. Speaker, and people have spoken, Mr. Speaker, on the need to conclude on this particular exercise. Sometimes it makes sense to hold out, even just for a few more days, but get the right piece of legislation. It's not easy to legislate on such a political crop like coffee. And therefore, for the journey, the legislative journey that this particular bill has traveled, beginning in this House, going to the Assembly, now back to this House, and about to go even through a mediation exercise, Mr. Speaker, I believe it is worth it. Of course, we have to expedite because we have to lock in the gains at this particular time when the farmers are happy and there are many Kenyans that continue to plant coffee, Mr. Speaker, so that we take advantage of the good vibes that farmers have at this particular point. Therefore, I hope that the members who will eventually get the opportunity to serve in the mediation committee when we reject this particular motion and follow through with the reasoning by our Agriculture Committee, Mr. Speaker, will expedite on that exercise. I am particularly concerned, Mr. Speaker, because nowadays, while previously mediation exercises will take between, on average, 2 to 3 weeks, some of our mediation exercises, Mr. Speaker, are beginning to take fairly long. And I want to request chairpersons and those members that we grant the opportunity to serve, Mr. Speaker, in mediation committees, that they would actually consider expediting, especially people-centric legislation, like this particular one and so many others, Mr. Speaker. It will be something worth considering and making sure that we conclude on these bills. You know, Mr. Speaker, that for example, the last 2-3 months, the country has been conversing about the menace of gambling in our republic and the need to rein in betting farms and all these institutions. Yet, we have a mediation committee that has served, I think, almost 70 days now and counting between us and the Assembly. A bill that began its life here, in the Assembly, came here. They disagreed with our amendments, Mr. Speaker, and now there's a mediation team that we formed, I think, in the month of March. We are now nearing June. Before concluding the exercise, I want to urge colleagues, Mr. Speaker, that when we have a matter that is people-centric, especially that is topical in the country, and people feel that there is need to provide guidance, we need to expedite on that particular. I don't know who sits in that committee. I can't recall who the Senate sent to represent us in that particular committee. My urging, Mr. Speaker, is that when we form this particular one, we will quickly expedite so that we can represent our farmers. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to oppose the motion for the reasons that I had explained earlier, and hope that we can conclude on this exercise quick enough so that we begin the mediation exercise as soon as our colleagues from the other house resume next week. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make some submissions on this report. Let me begin first by appreciating the work of the committee in as far as going through clause by clause of the amendments made by the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, there are a few amendments made by the National Assembly that I agree with, and there are some that I'd wish that the good Committee on Agriculture would have given us guidance on what to amend or the language to be used. Mr. Speaker, the first amendment which has been made that I support is the amendment in terms of the broker. When a person is called a broker, given that this commodity is being sold abroad, you have to go to a market and actually be able to broker the deal between the buyer and the seller. So I think it is imperative that you are licensed by the marketing authorities. So that's a very, very good amendment that I fully support. The amendment that I do not support entirely is the amendment on who the buyer is. I do not need to be licensed. Sometimes I think we just over-legislate. I do not need to be licensed to be able to go and buy coffee for me to be able to resell. If you look at the amendment as drafted by the National Assembly, you will be shocked. that whoever buys coffee must now be licensed. I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous. You know, if I was to buy coffee, I should go to the broker and bid my price and buy coffee if I want to be able to add value. But if there is a farmer in Narok, and now, Mr. Speaker, Narok is also growing coffee. We're growing coffee in Kilgoris. We're growing coffee in Narok South. We are also growing in part of Emurue Dikira. I can see some people trying to grow some coffee plants. So it is imperative that we encourage our population to be able to venture into the agricultural sector and grow. But now, if you have to be able to only use a broker to be able to sell, you are actually going back to the colonial era when our country was, you know, the crops in our country were defined between the cash crops economy, and in fact at that particular time we're only growing goods to be able to feed the British in the UK and also the West. So, Mr. Speaker, I think this definition of who a buyer should be should actually be completely rejected. And I'd hope that the committee would have said, we delete this. Because I've gone through the report. The committee has done a fantastic job. And let me thank the chairperson on agriculture. You know, but I hope that, Mr. Speaker, that the chairperson would have gone and said the committee rejected this amendment and suggested the following, so that it guides us, so that even when we select a team to go through mediation, they can be able to go and say, this is the language to be used. You know, I'd hope that they would have said, in terms of the buyer, remove, you know, delete that. Just let everybody be able to buy. Now, the second part, which I also detest, is an issue where, for me to be able to grow, first of all, you're required that a farmer is defined, you know, a buyer is defined. Even a grower to be defined. So before I grow coffee, I have to go and say, which plant can I grow here? I strongly believe that we should have that completely deleted. I noted that the committee had accepted that clause amendment, but I'm of the view that every Kenyan who has an interest, we are training students, Mr. Speaker. I'm currently recruiting 100 students of Narok County to be able to offer scholarships to them and train them in agribusiness. I don't want to be able to guide those students and tell them, you can only be able to plant these tree. So certain definition needs to be removed. So, Mr. Speaker, without wasting so much time, I wish to request my colleagues to go through these amendments one by one, so that when we go through the committee of the whole, sometimes by just rejecting it doesn't help. I think we should be able to figure out, and we can work with the Secretariat, on how we can also further amend those clauses. And then when now we go to the mediation, there is a version that will be coming from the Senate. But if we are just saying that we have rejected because of the following reason and not giving an alternative, that is what will lead to the committee or mediation committee taking more than the 70 days that the majority leader has alluded to. So, Mr. Speaker, I equally reject or oppose this bill, these amendments, and I root for liberalization of the coffee industry. Let everyone grow. You know, in terms of marketing, I've seen that in terms of marketing, you also have to be licensed. If I travel today and I go to the States and I sit with Starbucks and they tell me that they want to buy coffee in Kenya, I cannot market coffee there as a Kenyan. I have to say, okay, let me look for a licensed marketer. You know, this should be a willing buyer, willing seller. So let's liberalize this economy. Let's allow more people to grow coffee as they wish. You know, let's do away. We must now divorce ourselves from this colonial mentality of defining our agricultural sector as a cash crop and other crops. You know, we're still following through. Sorry, Mr. Speaker. We need to stop it. You know, we need to be able to say, now you go, if you can grow coffee in Narok, grow. If you can even add value and consume it locally, so be it. You know, but if you can grow and now want to go and sell abroad, then it will make sense to go through the brokerage so that you earn more money. So, Mr. Speaker, without dealing more on this matter, I oppose these amendments, and I hope that, and I support the committee report fully, and I oppose the motion. I support the committee for having done their work, but I oppose the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mogeni.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I'm also speaking on behalf of my farmers. From my 4 constituencies in Nyamira, 3 of them are farmers who grow coffee, who grow and sell coffee, Senator Mundigi. That is North Mogirango, West Mogirango, and Kitutu. And the North Mogirango, Mr. Speaker, neighbors, my good friend, Senator Cheruyot. But what I've never understood, both for my tea farmers and the coffee farmers, I've never understood why farmers from central Kenya earn more money than my farmers from Nyamira and even from Kericho. I've never understood. Senator Cheruyot, I don't know whether you are aware, our farmers, dry coffee, they were paid $2.39. From where Senator Wamatinga comes from, they were paid 500 shillings. 356, not 500. At times this time we had to pay, I'm happy. Because the other time they were earning 1.5 times more than others. You know, we want fairness for all our farmers. When we sell coffee or tea, we are selling coffee coming from Kenya. We never sell coffee coming from Nyanza or coffee from Central. We sell it as coffee coming from a country called Kenya. So we want fairness for farmers, both from Central, where our brothers are, we have in-laws there, and also farmers from Nyanza, from Rift Valley. And we have the same problem even in tea, where we understand that farmers from Central Kenya fetch better prices than our farmers from Nyamira. We want the government, if it's to regulate the auctions, the selling of tea, we get fairness, Senator Muti. The farmer in Nyamira and the farmer in Central wants to pay school fees. They want to buy a kilo of meat for themselves. They also want to wear nice suits. So we want fairness. So I mean, whatever laws we are passing here, the thing should be fairness to all the farmers in Kenya. We are benefiting because I'm told in Brazil, there was very bad weather that has affected coffee production. So we are now gaining here. Let's gain all of us. If we are earning 350, let it be 350. But Mr. Speaker, we also want the government to assist our farmers. You know, because the coffee has now become the black gold. Farmers are facing a lot of problems. You bring your coffee, you store it in a coffee society, chances are that somebody somewhere will plan and rob you. But I don't know about Central. In my area, I can speak for my coffee societies where I come from. If you go to West Mogirango in Nyangoko, you go to Kemera in West Mogirango, or you go to Eaka in North Mogirango, there is no proper fencing of our coffee societies. Why can the government step in, create a fund, fence these coffee societies nicely? Because the farmers are also contributing to foreign earning. Face the coffee societies nicely, okay? Have a gate entry to the coffee factory, connect them to electricity, okay? Improve their beds, the beds they use for drying coffee, so that they can also enjoy and say the environment we are trying to make money from is good and appreciates the farmer. Mr. Speaker, last year, a watchman, a night guard, was attacked and killed by thieves who were stealing coffee from Eaka Coffee Society in North Mogirango. And up to date, as I'm speaking today, the person who attacked this farmer, or the persons, have not been arrested to date. So we also need to understand that the environment under which we process and store our coffee exposes our farmers to a lot of risk. So I would want the government to also step in, assist these farmers. Some of the societies have loans that have been outstanding for many years. Anytime they make good earning, their money goes to repaying their loans. I hope the government can step in and help. Now, some of the proposals in this from the National Assembly are hard to understand. Surely, why does SRC want to come in to set sitting allowances for members of coffee societies? I mean, we are overstretching the mandate of SRC. SRC wants to come to Nyamira to sit in North Mogrango, sit in Kitutu, sit in West Mogrango to tell farmers what their sitting allowance would be. Because you can set a sitting allowance that the farmers will never afford. The allowance should meet the earnings of the farmer from that coffee society. But don't tell us that you set a blanket. Maybe farmers in Embu make more money. They want to pay the directors sitting allowance that cannot be matched by farmers in Nyamira. So if you make good money there, pay them more. If we are not able to make good money in Nyamira, we want to save on the allowances we pay to our directors. So I don't agree with this proposal that SRC should now come in meddling and say they are the one is setting allowances for farmers. I hope people will go to do mediation, will strike off that amendment. I don't understand whether our brothers in National Assembly don't live in our counties where we come from. This is something they should be able to understand. SRC will think a board member attending a meeting should be paid 25,000. If you pay a director for 4 months, you will whip out the earnings from the cooperative society. So let that be a matter that will be dealt with by the farmers themselves. They will see the earnings from that society and then decide the remuneration they are going to give their directors. I like this idea of value addition. We have spoken about value addition for ages. When you go and take a cup of tea, Senator Cheragay, I was in Gishu on Friday. I went to take a cup of coffee. Do you know how much I was charged? Imagine. And now for my farmer in Nyamira, you want to pay them a whole 1 kilo. You just want to pay them 239 dry coffee. And 1 cup of tea in Gishu. Now, that's not in the capital city of Nairobi, though Eldoret, I saw, is a nice, beautiful city. But in Eldoret, I'm paying for a cup of coffee at 350. But the farmer who produced the coffee for a whole kilo in Gorogoro is earning 239. We are not being fair to our farmers, really. This guy should be paid, 1 kilo should fetch more than 1,000 shillings. Because how many cups of coffee will 1 kilo produce, Senator Mundigi? Many. That small sachet is the one that is making me to pay.
Senator Mogene.
Yes, yes.
What is Gorgo? Because you referred to something as, and I'm struggling to understand what you mean.
You know, I'm trying to connect. You know, Gorogoro is that tin. When you take that coffee in that tin, that's the one we call now 2 kilos. In Nyamira, we call it Gorogoro. When I speak that language, my people in Nyamira understand. Yes, everywhere, yes. Speaker, I'm sure even in Kilifi. even in Kilifi. But the point I'm making, Mr. Speaker, just imagine, you deliver that 2 kilogram tin of coffee, and all you are earning is 239. And you go to London, that cup of coffee we took, Seragei, in Eldoret, we paid 350. There you will pay $3. That's how much? It's about 450 something. Yeah. So we must do something, really. We must do something so that we make the farmer to be the one who is benefiting more. They are the ones toiling. Well, the person going to take a cup of coffee is just going to, but the farmer has toiled. He needs to get earning that will pay fees for his child, that will make him afford medical bills in hospital, that will make him to dress nicely, you know, like the farmers I saw in Gishu, wearing very nice suits. That's what we want for our farmers, Mr. Speaker. And then let's not steal a lot of money from our farmers. You know, this bill is proposing an introduction of other levies. The moment you introduce a levy, who is going to meet the cost? It's the farmer. Yeah? I went to school in Kabianga. The opposite of Kabianga was coffee. Kericho Kenya Coffee Research Foundation. So you still want up to today farmers to continue paying money for research. We will do research for how long? For eternity. And And that cost is being transferred to the farmer. You are giving another levy here, you are calling it, I don't know, development levy. For what? Let us reduce. You know, this is the taxation on our farmer. Let's be fair, senators. This is taxation. This is more taxation on our farmers. So let's not allow passage of laws that take more pain to the farmer. If they are lucky to get the good earnings they are getting this year, let that money be for the benefit of the farmer. The taxes we will pay. We are paying enough taxes to the government, but let's spare the farmer. Already they are facing enough pain. So I really hope, Mr. Speaker, that the senators who are going to sit in this mediation committee ensure that you don't allow these proposals from National Assembly that wants to tax the farmers' earnings more. Already the taxation they are facing, they are the ones who paid the directors, they are buying coffee, they are paying the person tilling the shamba, the one plucking, society expenses. That's enough. Extra income, let it go to the pockets of the farmer. So finally, Mr. Speaker, I hope the government will continue supporting our farmers. We were in the Senate last time. The Coffee Cherry Fund never benefited us in Western Kenya, Mr. Speaker. It never benefited us. You, Kericho, you benefited. Huh? Mr. Speaker, Kericho...
Order, honorable senators.
If he's informing me, can inform me.
What is the point of order, Senator Cheriot?
Senator Mogeni was doing so well on this issue, representing his farmers, who incidentally are also my farmers because we come from the same region. And he knows that when Senator Moses Wetangula moved the House on that particular matter, it was because only 4 counties had been picked to benefit. It was Nyeri, Embu, Murang'a, and Kiambu. Kericho was not one of them. So the record of the House should reflect that, Mr. Speaker, that we never got a shilling from the Cherry Fund by, I think, I forget the name of the minister. Munya, yes. Thank you.
Proceed to conclude your remarks, Honorable Mogeni.
So surely, Mr. Speaker, if those 4 benefited, for equity, for fairness, let us also benefit this time around. I'm pleading to the President, if he is watching me, let him also remember the farmers from Nyamira. Let him also remember the farmers from Kisii and the farmers from Kericho. At least the ones in Nandi don't take a lot of attention with coffee. But let us also benefit, Mr. Speaker. Let us have fairness. Let us have equity. Imagine, Mr. Speaker, farmers sat last time. We debated on this floor. Just imagine how those farmers felt. Just seeing 4 counties from one region being picked to benefit. Then others are isolated, Mr. Speaker. I'm appealing to the CS. Mutai Kawe. I'm appealing to the CS, Mutai Kawe. Let him be fair to all the farmers of the Republic of Kenya. Last time, farmers from Central benefited, Mr. Speaker. This time around, let also the farmers in west of Kenya benefit. We also pay taxes, Mr. Speaker. We also want to live good life. We want our farmers to live good life, Mr. Speaker. I'm appealing to the CS and to the President of the Republic to remember the farmers of west of Kenya this time around. We didn't feel happy. Our farmers did not feel happy that we were discriminated. I hope this time there will be fairness. Mr. Speaker, with those remarks, I oppose the motion. Thank you.
Senator for Nandi, the Honorable Chirake.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. It is good that we are discussing serious issues. Mr. Speaker, one of the biggest agenda of President William Ruto was on fixing the mess in farming through guarantee minimum returns, coffee and tea sector. Mr. Speaker, the President continued to perform exceptionally very well in fulfilling the agenda. Even today, Mr. Speaker, a few hours ago, I want to congratulate His Excellency the President because he continues to prove wrong the naysayers. by launching 1,010 affordable Mukuru Estate affordable housing program. The unfortunate part is the senator of Nairobi did not turn up, but the entire leadership of Nairobi was there.
Senator
to prove.
Senator Fernando.
I'm just tying up with...
Confine your contributions to the matter at hand.
Mr. Speaker, as
you know our standing orders on
the
issue of relevance. I don't want to rule you out of order. Yes. Please proceed with your...
Mr. Speaker,
with your contribution on the subject.
I'm coming there, Mr. Speaker. I'm bringing it home.
You're already there. Can you proceed?
Yes. Mr. Speaker, thank you, because I wanted to show the nation that the president continues to fulfill his agenda. One of the agendas, apart from affordable housing, is the issue of guarantee minimum returns, the coffee sector reforms, the tea sector reforms, Mr. Speaker. And we continue to prove our naysayers wrong. Even in the dairy sector, Mr. Speaker, it is a fulfillment that will not go unnoticed, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you should rein on Senator Eddy shouting, and yet he's the chairman of Roads and Transport announcing, and I didn't see him there. Mr. Speaker, the point I wanted to make, Mr. Speaker, is on the issue, Nandi, Mr. Speaker. And I want to correct a total misnomer that has been advanced by the senior counsel that Nandi does not grow coffee. We grow coffee, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, he was in Wazingishu. You know, it is sad, because it is judicially noticed from a senior counsel who is one among the three to be aware that he was in Wazingishu County. He was not in Nandi County. Would it be in order that the clerk's office guides the good senior counsel on how counties are? Because when you are in Eldoret, you are in Wazingishu. He was not in Nandi. So I want to correct that record, Mr. Speaker. Nandi, Mr. Speaker, where we border Kericho, we plant coffee in Tindret, over 80%. We plant coffee in Nandi Hills. We plant coffee in Masop, in Chesume, up to Wazingishu, where he was, Mr. Speaker. And I was disappointed when 10 billion Kenya shillings came from Coffee Cherry Fund through World Bank. In the last session, the Speaker, the current Speaker of the National Assembly, moved this House. Because at that time, the people from Murima only benefited from the World Bank Coffee Cherry Fund, Mr. Speaker. And I hope CS Mutai Kagwe will correct this travesty of justice against the farmers in Nandi, against the farmers across the nation, Mr. Speaker. So I want to appeal, because Nandi, we are the biggest. In fact, as we talk, a number of cooperative societies, from Kipshele Cooperative Society, Mr. Speaker, Kabunyaria Cooperative Society, Coffee, and many others across Nandi County, Mr. Speaker, have yet to give the startup. And I have challenged the expert, Mr. Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary in charge of cooperatives, Honorable Governor Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, to bring a special package to jumpstart most of our coffee cooperative society who struggle, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, under guarantee minimum returns, Mr. Speaker, that the president, that the covenant that he had with Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, we must relook and ensure that farmers get value, Mr. Speaker. And it is said that the average farm age of any farmer in this country is 50 years. We want to encourage the Gen Zs and the millennials, Mr. Speaker, to be part of bringing agro business in terms of running of our farms, Mr. Speaker. And I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, there is a wake-up call of ensuring that coffee, Mr. Speaker, is being grown. I agree, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't explain. I saw the Commissioner of Parliamentary Service Commission. I want to inform him that even as we sit in our restaurant here in Parliament, they charge us 350 shillings for coffee. I don't know, espresso or cappuccino or whichever the name, but it's coffee, house coffee. I don't know, chicken coffee or something like that. They serve us coffee. There is no cappuccino. It is called house coffee. 350 shillings, Mr. Speaker. You can imagine the frustration of first-time members of Parliament who are still putting their financial in order. So it is unwavered, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, it is unfair that you are charging 350 shillings coffee here. Across House of Chava is 450 shillings. Yet it is being financed by our budget from Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Even if we want to promote, when you walk in US, This is around $3, Mr. Speaker. So it is very unfortunate that the value that ordinary farmer, Mr. Speaker, I want to say this because I'm a farmer and I represent farmers, Mr. Speaker. I feel so pain that our farmers wake up very early in the morning to go, but the biggest beneficiaries are middlemen and brokers in this country. Mr. Speaker, you saw even there is a calculated discrimination of farmers in this country. You remember we brought a statement that 34 billion worth of tea from Western Kenya had not been sold, Mr. Speaker. What offense are Western Kenya farmers committed? We are struggling with sugar crisis leasing at the moment. We are struggling, Mr. Speaker. So it is very unfortunate that 34 billion Kenya shillings were not being sold, Mr. Speaker. When you look at tea bonuses, Mr. Speaker, because tea, coffee, dairy sector, sugar cane, Mr. Speaker, are correlated. We are being paid in Nandi up to 17 shillings. Yet when you go to some parts of this country, they are being paid up to 58 shillings. Mr. Speaker, it is not fair. We must take a deliberate, even as we took coffee sector reforms. And I want to challenge the chairperson of agriculture. I have never seen them participate in coffee caucus sector reforms. I saw only the member of parliament of Nyeri Town called Duncan Matenge, who is the chair of coffee parliamentary caucus. I have not seen Senate becoming proactive. I know the vice chair, the good professor, Dr. Mundigi, the deputy party leader of DP. I have not seen their input in the coffee caucus or parliamentary, Mr. Speaker. We need to caucus, even in the tea sector, Mr. Speaker, so that we can see value. Mr. Speaker, in terms of conversation, there are better conversations we can do outside this room that will be beneficial, Mr. Speaker. Let me make a few very critical points and then I cede the floor. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of the buyer, I don't agree. There was no need to define these things, so this one should be deleted. Even the coffee grower. So how will you know? If you are leasing a farm and then you grow, so what? Mr. Speaker, this one should go home, should be deleted, Mr. Speaker. Even, Mr. Speaker, on the issue, another factor is the danger of coffee theft, especially in Mount Kenya region. Mr. Speaker, I'm proposing, the unfortunate part is the incompetence in that ministry, but let me propose. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Interior should form what we call anti-coffee protection unit to protect our farmers. Yes, to protect our farmers the way we have done for anti-stock theft unit. Let us also form anti-coffee police unit to protect our coffee, Mr. Speaker. You have seen deaths even in Nyamira, in Muranga, in Mumeru, Mr. Speaker, where your deputy speaker comes from. Coffee is a matter of life and death. The Ministry of Interior must form anti-coffee police unit, Mr. Speaker, at least so that our farmers can feel safe. And I think also the Ministry of Interior must give powers to the Inspector General of Police, which of course is independent, to have a circular where the armed police officers are providing 24-hour surveillance and security in our coffee factories across the country. Mr. Speaker, this is because you remember the story of Chep Kube during the Kenyatta era, Kenyatta 1, Mr. Speaker. And I know the youth leader Oburu Odinga is a custodian of history of this country. Mr. Speaker, coffee has been treated like a gold. People are dying because of coffee, Mr. Speaker. So we need issues of protective mechanisms, Mr. Speaker, so that our farmers and the farmers' produce can feel safe, because when we hear cases of death, attack, Mr. Speaker, the anti-coffee police unit should be formed the way anti-stock theft unit has been formed, anti-terrorism police unit have been formed, diplomatic police unit. In fact, I think at some point, Mr. Speaker, when some of us were being removed bodyguards, Mr. Speaker, in the last session, because we had a different view with the regime that was there, we lost our bodyguards, Mr. Speaker. We had even thought that we need to form parliamentary police unit so that they are not subject to few people within powers who can withdraw bodyguards of VIP protection, Mr. Speaker. So based on parliament, in fact, we suggested. So it is not something that I'm bringing, Mr. Speaker.
What is the point of order, Senator for Meru?
Honorable Speaker, I wanted my good friend, Senator Chalegei, you know, he's terming anti-coffee police unit, anti-coffee. So is it anti-coffee or pro-coffee police unit? Because it is now really, I'm not getting it right, and also maybe we might mislead Kenyans who are really watching us. Because you know, the subject matter is very, very emotive. And I'm happy with what you have really canvassed and all the members. I was following up this matter throughout this afternoon. But can you really collect it's not anti-coffee? Yes. Because you are saying police officers shouldn't be against the coffee. Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Deputy Speaker and Senator Katuri Murungi, for that correction. I meant that there should be a specific unit to protect our coffee factories and where coffee is being stored. So that is what actually I meant, to prevent the theft. A police unit should be formed to prevent the theft of coffee in this country. And more so, the Ministry of Interior can start with coffee factories for now, and where coffee is being given, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I agree that should be the least we can. And the principle, Mr. Speaker, so that I qualify my argument, is that it is not, we are not talking about the issue of giving for lease to prevent theft of coffee. Even I'm talking about livestock, Mr. Speaker, even diplomats. So it is not, so Kenyans, when Kenyans will listen, we are not saying Ministry of Interior should get extra budget. It is just reallocation and creating a department or a police unit that will specifically deal against coffee theft in this. And we have formed many units, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, is on taxation, Mr. Speaker. The reading of Article 210 on imposition of taxes and the reading of Article 209, Mr. Speaker. We need to be very careful. Taxation is killing our people, Mr. Speaker. You remember the dissent that we had last year of the young people over the finance bill in this country was because of taxation. Mr. Speaker, this issue of increasing levies, Mr. Speaker, whenever you walk to a coffee or a hustler kiosk here in Ngara, Mr. Speaker, when you look at the wall, it has become mosaic because of so many taxations that Kenyans are paying. We need to stop this culture that we can grow the country through overtaxing Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. We need to overgrow that. You go, somebody is paying public health, they are paying county government, they are paying music copyright society, Mr. Speaker. When you look at the number of taxes that Kenyans pay, even at the smallest level, Mr. Speaker, we should do away with this taxation. And this culture of double taxation is killing the business in our counties. Because if you are buying machine-cut stones in Thika, before you enter Nakuru, they want you to pay cess. Before you enter Wasingishu, they want to pay you cess. Before you enter Nandi, they want to pay you cess. Mr. Speaker, we are killing the spirit of business by encouraging double taxation. And therefore, this country will not, Mr. Speaker, will not grow because of double taxation. And therefore, I want to encourage this issue of levies must stop. Because the reading of Article 209 and 210, in as much as, Mr. Speaker, that we need to arrogate powers to Parliament. Parliament must be held to alive to economic realities. If farmers continue, or people who deal with coffee, Mr. Speaker, you know what happens? The people who do coffee business, they don't care. They will just arrogate those taxes to the farmer. And tell the farmer we would have paid 250 shillings per kilo, but because taxation is high, we will just pay you 200 shillings because we have to pay that taxation. So I want to say there was lack of wisdom in introduction of this taxation part, Mr. Speaker, because Kenyans are tired with taxes. We only grow this country by creating an enabling environment, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on point number 4 is on the issue of SRC, Mr. Speaker. We are overstretching the mandate of Salaries and Remuneration Commission. The business of SRC that was envisaged by the Constitution was very clear, to advise. Mr. Speaker, you know our cooperative societies in our villages, some of them run on losses. Some of them are being run by charity, where directors or people who run coffee societies are supporting as part of giving back to the community. If SRC today says people who run coffee societies should be paid 25,000, some of the coffee societies I know in Nandi County do not have that capacity. And why are we overstretching the mandate of SRC? SRC has never accounted for anything that they do. You remember, Mr. Speaker, they did frustrate members of County Assembly, MCAs. I have never seen it. When it started in 2013, Mr. Speaker, the money that was being won was more than 150. Now they have cut it down to 8. SRC we are giving SRC powers that do not have. We should not allow SRC, Mr. Speaker, to do anything because they are the ones that their work is to advise based on the economy performance. So when you introduce SRC, Mr. Speaker, on the role that we are having, Mr. Speaker, is very unfair. Farmers, let allow coffee, the issue of SRC, Mr. Speaker, let them allow the coffees to be run by the board's managements that we have, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, another factor, Mr. Speaker, this one is on SRC Board of Directors, shall be paid as SRC Commission shall determine. Mr. Speaker, let us allow coffee is on its dead need. Let us allow the coffee to regulate itself and agree, because I don't know why members of National Assembly will want to introduce this issue of SRC in this. SRC, their work is to advise. They are not to, and you know we have had run-ins, both at the legislative, and they have overstretched their mandate, Mr. Speaker. In fact, I'm bringing an amendment, Mr. Speaker, that we should make SRC part-time, because I think they are too idle in their offices. Until nowadays, they have realized the bogeymen or bogey women is to just review salaries of politicians in this country. We must make them, they only meet 4 times a year, and we can make part-time, because they are changing vehicles, the salaries they give themselves, because no one, who will watch the watcher, Mr. Speaker? Who will watch the watcher? No one will watch. And you know, they say when your goat gets lost, the smell of the stew in your neighbors, you become suspicious over it. So, Mr. Speaker, the watcher must be watched, Mr. Speaker, going into the future. Mr. Speaker, let us support these farmers. I want to say I reject in capital letters this motion, Mr. Speaker. Let's go to the mediation for the benefit of a coffee farmer in Cabrera, somewhere in Tindred, Mr. Speaker. Let us stand up for a coffee farmer in Kamunge, in Masab Sub-County, in Nandi County, Mr. Speaker. Let us go for this, Mr. Speaker, for a farmer somewhere in Wazingishu, Mr. Speaker, for a farmer in Kipkelion, for a farmer in Muranga, Mr. Speaker, for a farmer in Antiba Iju, in Meru, Mr. Speaker, for the benefit of this nation. We must reject this motion until and unless, Mr. Speaker, we agree, or now we can. Mr. Speaker, I am offering, and it's good the majority leader is here. I hope I will not miss in the mediation committee, because I need to educate some members of National Assembly on how coffee issues should be handled in this issue, Mr. Speaker. With those very many remarks, I totally reject this motion with everything that I have. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Honorable Senators, before I call the mover to respond, I have the following communication to make. I'd like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon of visiting teachers and pupils from Chania Primary School in Nyeri County. The delegation comprises 6 teachers and 40 pupils who are in the Senate for a one-day academic exposition. We also have visiting teachers and pupils from Huhoini Comprehensive School. The delegation comprises 6 teachers and 51 pupils. This school is also from Nyeri County and is on a one-day academic exposition at the Senate. Now, Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. I will call upon the Senator for Nyeri County to extend a word of welcome, that to be done under 1 minute. You may proceed, Senator Wamating.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity to welcome the pupils from Shania Comprehensive School and Huhoini Comprehensive School, both in Nyeri County. Mr. Speaker, sir, some of us, when we sponsor such as students to come and visit us in the Senate, it's because we want to give them the kind of exposure of what goes on around here. We want to also give them an opportunity to get inspired so that one day when they are set to the offices such as ours, they can be good leaders. Mr. Speaker, sir, Nyeri County is renowned for having produced some of the best leaders, among them being Mwai Kibaki. When I look at the pupils up there, Mr. Speaker, I see potential Mwai Kibakis only if we as leaders also give them a good image, give them a good example, and most important, Mr. Speaker, behave as good leaders and make pronouncements that will inspire them and ensure that they get the time. Mr. Speaker, as I sit down, it is also indeed very important to acknowledge the role that education plays in this country. Mr. Speaker, we've seen through parliamentary diplomacy in the countries that we go that we've met many Kenyan students who've become renowned in foreign countries because of the good education they've received. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I wish to take this opportunity to welcome both Chania and Hueni comprehensive schools and wish them that they'll get a fruitful day and that they get to take something home. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Wakoli, you may now respond, having moved this motion.
Honorable Speaker, I want to appreciate the contribution of honorable members on this coffee bill. It elicits a lot of emotions across the country. Honorable Speaker, we were with the Minister for Cooperatives, Honorable Oparanya, in Bungoma on Friday. He had a real taste of the feeling and the suffering of the farmer in Bungoma, Honorable Speaker. We visited Chesikaki Coffee Mills. We visited M-PESA Coffee Mills. And in Chesikaki, we had about 4,000 farmers. In M-PESA, we had 3,500 farmers, Honorable Speaker. And what members are raising legitimate concerns. And on behalf of the committee, I want to assure honorable members that the input, the advice, and their contribution will be put into proper use to ensure that this bill comes to pass. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to reply. Thank you.
Chair Agriculture, maybe get guidance from the clerk.
Honorable Speaker, I want to request that we can defer putting of the question to a later date. Then we proceed, Honorable Speaker. We ring the bell and deal with it. Thank you.
Who is advising the bill to Mbilang? Not you. You are done, Chairman. You are done, Chair. Okay. You know, this house has rules and regulations.
Yes, sir.
And as a Senator Chalagei, the majority leader, you have no authority to call the bell to Mbilang. You cannot call the sergeant at arms to ring the bell for quorum. Majority leader, you have no authority to do that also.
The 5 minutes. The quorum bell for 5 minutes.
Yes, I've been advised that we have no quorum, so I request that Sergeant at Arms ring the quorum bell for 5 minutes. Sorry. Honorable Senators, can we now resume our seats? Honorable Senators, the robbing is over, so I want to put the question. Senator Modigi, Senator Chalagay, Majority Whip. Honorable Senators, now that we have quorum, Senator, our good senators, honorable senators, I now put the question that the National Assembly, honorable members, honorable senators, I put the question that the National Assembly amendments to the coffee bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2023, be now considered. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. Honorable Senators, you know these Kamkunjis are not, last week we had a very comprehensive Kamkunji and we sorted all the issues that were raised by the members. So let us make progress on today's business. So Honorable Senators, from under number 11, 12, 13 and 14, we are deferring that business. And then we are going to order number 15, Clerk.
Order number 15, the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025, second reading.
Senate Majority Leader.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2025, be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, this is for all intents and purpose and in full realization of what my duties are as a leader of majority in the House, the proudest of moments for every senator, because this is when we get to fulfill our constitutional mandate at its prime, which is to ensure that there are sufficient resources devolved to the county governments. Mr. Speaker, the Division of Revenue Bill is a constitutional function granted to the Senate, for which we must always take time to reflect and think deeper when we have a bill. And in the constitutional architecture, the thinking has always been that this bill begins in the National Assembly, though if it was up to me, they'd rather wait for us as the Senate to give our considered view before they input it into the budget. But given, Mr. Speaker, that this process is lost and convoluted in so many opinions and counter-opinions, not just from here, but from all corners of the country, including, nonetheless, Mr. Speaker, the apex court of the land, which in 2013 gave us one reasoning which we agreed to and survived with for the last 11 years. But then last month, they gave a particular ruling which we are still struggling to understand. That is not the context, Mr. Speaker, of what I'm to speak about, but I felt that it would be impossible to move this motion, Mr. Speaker, without reflecting and looking back on what colleagues, senators need to say about this bill, the annual division of revenue. This is perhaps the most important legislative duty any senator gets to undertake in their mandate once they're elected to serve in this House, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, the division of revenue prepared in line with Article 202(1), Mr. Speaker, of our Constitution, which provides for the division of nationally raised revenue between the two levels of government, which is the national government and the county governments for the year 2025-2026. This bill provides that the division of revenue raised nationally between the national and county governments for the year 2025 and 2026 ensure that each level of government has resources necessary to ensure effective implementation of the function of the county. If there is a fight that the Senate must always have, and if there is a process we must always defend, Mr. Speaker, it is this exercise of dividing revenue between the two levels of government. Mr. Speaker, in fact, I have seen speculation in the media on what is the position of the Senate with regards to the constitutional amendment bill that is before the National Assembly, and perhaps our position on Senate Oversight Fund. We have no strong attachment to the Senate Oversight Fund. If there is something that we want properly entrenched into our Constitution, Mr. Speaker, is clarity on this issue of division of revenue. And to affirm the position of the Senate, Mr. Speaker, in terms of how much goes to our county governments. The challenges in the county governments notwithstanding, Mr. Speaker, if there has been an invention, so to speak, by way of our Constitution that has ensured that we have a perhaps more stable country than what we had in the previous election cycles, Mr. Speaker, it is a simple comfort of knowing that despite the fact that there are resources at the national level that we have to fight for as a country, but at least there is 15% of that revenue that comes to our county governments, Mr. Speaker. And that is something that Senate sits proud about. And because I have seen our colleagues in the National Assembly have provided clarity, and they've said they want CDF to be at 2.5%, Mr. Speaker. If there is to be concurrence from this House, then, Mr. Speaker, it is affirming the position of what is the exact percentage on the specific financial year, Mr. Speaker, must always go to the counties. This business of the last audited financial accounts, Mr. Speaker, is something that has left counties wallowing in deep debt, Mr. Speaker, and having resources that are not sufficient to run the operations. Therefore, if our colleagues feel that 2.5% is sufficient of every national budget, Mr. Speaker, then let us have that 15% or 20%, Mr. Speaker, be the bare minimum, as such that when the budget is laid in the National Assembly, you know for a fact that that amount of money will go to our county governments, Mr. Speaker. That will be a beautiful trade-off. 2.5% for CDF,
20% for devolution, Mr. Speaker. And that will be a proper conversation to have. I know there are conversations about, by the time of laying the budget, it depends on how revenue will perform, and so on and so forth, Mr. Speaker. But what about CDF? How comes you want to entrench it, Mr. Speaker, at a particular percentage? Reflect back to the, Mr. Speaker, the budget that has been passed in the last few years. 3.4, 3.6 trillion, Mr. Speaker, yet only 300 billion plus, or 400 billion the last few years. That's on or about 13 or 14% of that particular resources, or just barely 15 of that budget goes to counties, Mr. Speaker. We need to set the threshold and agree, not forgetting, not blindsided, Mr. Speaker, of all the challenges that are in our county governments, but knowing that the first conversation is let us devolve the resources first. We will go and deal with the issues of the thieving governors, Mr. Speaker. But let us first send the resources to the counties. In any case, it's not that it is for lack of thieves at the national government that those resources remain here. Thieves are everywhere, Mr. Speaker. And EACC must do their job, Mr. Speaker. And in fact, on that account, as we move this, today I saw headlines in the Nation and the Standard, where the editors are telling us, Mr. Speaker, that there is a fight back, I don't know, from the president with regards to his critics. Maybe the editors of the Nation and the Standard, Mr. Speaker, needs to give us the list of who are these citizens that are above the law. That if you become a Ruto critic, Mr. Speaker, then you can do anything and there should be no recourse to you in law. I thought a criminal is a criminal, Mr. Speaker. If you are found to have broken the law, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't matter which side of the political divide you support. And I thought it is as basic to that level, Mr. Speaker, and those are the basic tenets of any democracy, Mr. Speaker. This smallness of our politics that is being perpetuated by our newspapers, particularly the Standard newspaper, Mr. Speaker, and of lately the Nation, Mr. Speaker, is what continues to drag this country behind. We must rise above petty politics, Mr. Speaker. If a governor has been found, Mr. Speaker, and the institutions of oversight, the EACC and the DPP, are satisfied, Mr. Speaker, that that particular individual is misappropriating resources that have been directed to the county government, then there are constitutional processes, Mr. Speaker, that must commence, devoid of politics, Mr. Speaker, either in support or against, Mr. Speaker. And it's not the first time, anyway, that a governor is being tried, Mr. Speaker. How many governors have been arrested since 2013, Mr. Speaker? So there shouldn't be a special exception that there are governors who should be untouchable on account of the fact that they are critics of the government. What kind of reasoning is that, Mr. Speaker, that is being perpetuated by our leading newspapers? Anyway, back to the topic, Mr. Speaker, on division of revenue. Under clause 4 of the bill, it stipulates that revenue raised nationally in respect of financial year 2025-2026, which is the financial year that we are about to go, shall be shared equitably among the national and county governments in accordance with the schedule of the bill. Then clause 5 will provide that the actual revenue raised nationally falls short of the expected revenue set out in schedule. The national government shall bear the shortfall. This goes without saying, and that's why, Mr. Speaker, if you listened to me earlier, I had proposed only 15 or 20%. So that if you have a significant shortfall, Mr. Speaker, at least, because in the first instant you had taken 80% of the national budget and left it at the national government, Mr. Speaker, when there is a shortfall, then they should bear the responsibility, Mr. Speaker. And I must appreciate that that has always been the case, Mr. Speaker, save for unique moments when we've had challenges, like last year, Mr. Speaker, when with failure to assent of the finance bill, Mr. Speaker, there was a significant drop in nationally raised or expected revenue by close to 400 billion, Mr. Speaker, and therefore we had to review downwards what we had actually proposed in DORA. And if you recall, late last year, towards November, we had to do a new set of division of revenue bill. I can't get the figures exactly. I think members of the Budget and Finance Committee will recall that we had to do that, Mr. Speaker. The clause 6 of the bill, Mr. Speaker, provides that if the actual revenue raised nationally exceeds the projected revenue set out in the schedule, this has never happened, and it will be
Christmas, Mr. Speaker, or Ramadan, if you want to put it, Mr. Speaker, if this was ever to happen, that we raise more than the projected revenue, what will happen in such a situation? The excess revenue shall accrue to the national government and may be used to reduce borrowing or pay debts. It's just a balance, Mr. Speaker, that if there was to be a shortfall, you bear the burden. But then again, if you're to get a windfall and raise excess revenue beyond what you had projected, Mr. Speaker, this has never happened in all those years, and I don't see the chance of it happening, Mr. Speaker. But if it was to happen, then that becomes something for the, what is it called, the Treasury, Mr. Speaker, to manage our budget books better. I will be looking with more detail what will be the fiscal deficit, because that's the indicator, Mr. Speaker, of how much, what will be the eventual budget that will be projected before we eventually agree on this issue of division of revenue. If the fiscal deficit, and I want our colleagues in the National Assembly to hear me loud and clear, if the fiscal deficit is above 4.5%, then we have no reason why we shouldn't be sending upwards of 420 to 430 billion to the counties, Mr. Speaker. And I will be speaking to that later when eventually they lay their report on the floor of the House next week. I can't speak for now, Mr. Speaker, because I don't know eventually what they will agree, but we'll be waiting for the report of the Budget Committee of the National Assembly. But my point and my argument, which I shall be pushing on the floor of this House as somebody who follows our budget-making process keenly, who understands it, Mr. Speaker, and knows what ought to be the balance between what is shared nationally and what is shared at the county governments. My argument, Mr. Speaker, is that at a 4.5% fiscal deficit, then 430 is possible, Mr. Speaker. Should it be reduced downwards, then we can have a conversation about the figures that I hear being mentioned by our colleagues in the National Assembly, because it means there is limited fiscal space, Mr. Speaker. But we cannot have a situation where we are allowing the National Treasury to borrow significant or colossal amounts of money, Mr. Speaker, while sending to counties very few resources. Mr. Speaker, you will recall, and I wish Senator Moses Kajwang, the chair of CPIC, was here with us, that due to the court ruling, we met here towards the end of the session, and we received the audit reports of many of our counties, and we passed them one afternoon and raised comments and said we shall find mechanisms through ways and means of addressing that particular challenge, Mr. Speaker. You will recall that we, as a Senate, raised a concern that if many of our county governments, all the 47 of them without fail, were business entities, Mr. Speaker, we'd be concerned that most of them, or all actually, are not growing. And anything, the rule of life, Mr. Speaker, is that if you're not growing, then you're actually dying. It only depends the speed at which you're dying. It could be a quick one, a slow one, but if you're not growing, Mr. Speaker, what are the indicators of growth, Mr. Speaker? And we said that many of our counties are not raising significant amount of funds in on-source revenue. We raised the fact, Mr. Speaker, that many of our counties, Mr. Speaker, I think it was about 34 out of 47, are actually doing more than 50% of the devolved, of their shareable revenue to pay recurrent expenditure, Mr. Speaker. Actually, less than 10 out of 47 counties, Mr. Speaker, spend more than 25% of their shareable revenue on actual development, which is the statutory edict as per Schedule 4 of the PFM Act Regulation 25, Mr. Speaker. And that is a conversation which I have kept on challenging my colleagues who serve in budget and finance. I know the Vice Chair is in the House, though she's not listening to what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker. And I hope that one day they will lead this House into a proper conversation about what needs to happen. Because this is something that should be of concern to any senator. If out of these funds, it makes no sense, colleagues, to fight for 400, 450, while 90% of that funds, Mr. Speaker, ends up being misappropriated. Why should we fight to send 450 billion, for example, to the counties, Mr. Speaker, if more than 50% goes to pay hardly 300,000 or 400,000 citizens, Mr. Speaker, to the exclusion of the millions of others? If you go to a county like Meru, and I don't know what the population of Meru, for example, is, Mr. Speaker, simple mathematics, I want to believe maybe upwards of 1.5 or nearly 2 million, because Meru is a fairly large county, Mr. Speaker. 1.6 million, Mr. Speaker. If out of your shareable revenue, Mr. Speaker, of upwards of 10 billion, your governor ends up spending more than 50% of it to pay employees who are barely 4,000 or 5,000 in that particular, what are you telling the rest, the 1.55 million citizens that don't work in the counties? And I have been pushing that as a house, we must have this conversation. And you know, it's simple, it's populist, Mr. Speaker, to say I've employed so-and-so. You know, nowadays, in fact, governors have found a new way of explaining. They hide behind very popular employment initiatives. I have picked young people. You know, I have to employ them as revenue officers so that we get more revenue. Or I have picked nurses. I have picked this or the other, Mr. Speaker. While it may sound logical, commerce has no sense. No, commerce has no feeling, Mr. Speaker. It has sense only. You either do the right thing or you fail. It doesn't matter the intention. It doesn't matter how emotional you are about it, Mr. Speaker. If at the end of the day, you're not managing your resources prudently as a county government, Mr. Speaker, the results will show very quickly. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I really want to request our colleagues to reflect deeply on this particular matter as we think about division of revenue and the things that we need to do, Mr. Speaker. The final part of this, Mr. Speaker, is that the Schedule 6 allocates a total of 2.835 trillion, Mr. Speaker, as follows. National government remains with 2.4 trillion. Equalization fund gets 10 billion and 405 billion to county governments, Mr. Speaker. I know the Budget and Finance Committee has thought through this process. They have proposed an even higher figure. As the Vice Chair comes to second, Mr. Speaker, I'm sure she will speak to the House and tell us what is their proposal before we eventually agree with them or see what to do. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, it will be unfair of me, knowing that this is something that many colleagues want to comment on and share their thoughts, particularly on all these issues that continue to face our county governments, Mr. Speaker, for me not to yield the floor so that colleagues can speak to this particular bill, particularly being guided by the report that was tabled by the Budget and Finance Committee, which I want to believe by now, Mr. Speaker, has been shared with us in the official channels of the House. Therefore, with those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move and request Senator Tabitha Mutinda, who's the Vice Chairperson of the Budget Committee of the Senate, to second and take us home with regards to the 2025 Division of Revenue Bill. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Vice Chair on Budget and Finance, Senator Mutinda.
Give me the mic. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I rise to second our bill, the Division of Revenue 2025. I really want to start by appreciating the Majority Leader. I've been keen on the sentiments and the submissions and the contributions that he has been able to highlight. But allow me, Mr. Speaker, to actually start by appreciating all the stakeholders that worked with us on this annual discussion of Division of Revenue, Mr. Speaker, led by the COG Chair, Governor Hamed of Wajir, the National Treasury, led by the Minister himself, Honorable Mbadi. CRA, we've worked very closely with them, up and including, apart from the issue of this Division of Revenue, also on the upcoming formula that we look forward to discuss on Thursday. There was also the Institute of Certified Accountants, that is ISPAC, Budget Hub, I can't forget, Mr. Speaker, also the County Assemblies Forum that we always engage very closely, Kenyan Devolution Civil Society, and the Coast Civil Society Networks for Human Rights. They also did their submissions, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I find it also, it's important to state all these stakeholders because the views, the conclusion, the recommendations that we are making to this House as a committee, Mr. Speaker, have been a process that we've engaged these very key stakeholders on the different areas that we focus on, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the bill indicates the projected revenue for financial year 25-26 at 2.8 billion, Mr. Speaker. But when the Minister for Finance appeared before the committee, he indicated a downward revised projection from 2.8, Mr. Speaker, to 2.756 billion. That is the downward projected revenue that this minister indicated in the committee when he appeared. And I'm pronouncing this, Mr. Speaker, because of course now with from 2.8 to 2.8 trillion to 2.7 trillion, then of course figures will change. Because you note very well, National Treasury and the National Assembly Committee of Budget proposed 405 billion for counties' equitable share. Unlike what we proposed, which I'll indicate very shortly, Mr. Speaker, the bill also indicated that the proposed county equitable share is to 25.79% of the most recent audited financial reports. And I want to emphasize on this, Mr. Speaker, because as a committee, we've really been pushing that the Committee of Finance at the National Assembly be able to approve the audited reports, because the Constitution is clear in terms of us using the last audited reports. And if the reports are not, approved, audited and approved, then it becomes difficult. But that was done, and whereby the amount is 1.5 billion. With this 1.5 billion, Mr. Speaker, then the equitable share percentage increases to 21%. The required is 15%, and so with the last audited reports approved of financial year 2020-2021, the amount is 1.5, which gives it about 21% from the 15. So it meets the required 15%, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, having said that, Article 204 of the Constitution is quite very clear in establishing what we call the equalization fund, into which it shall be paid 1.5% of all the revenue collected by the national government in each year. Mr. Speaker, we've been on this table, on this floor of the House, still on the issue of the equalization fund, a matter that is very important for all the counties, Mr. Speaker. There have been arrears when it comes to the issue of the equalization fund. I've tabled before this House the deficits, what has been remitted by National Treasury, and where we are as far as these deficits are concerned. And they should not be confused that the equalization fund is also part of the equitable share, Mr. Speaker. In consideration, Mr. Speaker, the committee was very cognizant, of the budget policy that we did a few months ago for 2025. We did a recommendation. Our recommendation, Mr. Speaker, of 465 billion is based on the factors that we were able to consider, Mr. Speaker. For us to have concluded to 465, Mr. Speaker, there were factors that led to this. What I remember also, the proposal by the governors, the COG, they proposed actually 536 billion. But we proposed 465 billion. Why, Mr. Speaker? And this is where I want to be very keen, Mr. Speaker. One of the key issues is the housing levy deductions. These are additional recurrent costs that affects all the 47 counties, Mr. Speaker. And with this additional cost, counties need to do their statutory remittances. The PAC committee, us as finance committee, and as early as yesterday, we were actually in Kitui County doing oversight on the issue of pending bills. And you find that the governors are also part of the issues of non-remittance of the statutory deductions is part of pending bills, Mr. Speaker. If counties are not able to get enough funding, then what will happen to these issues of housing deduction? And I speak because today, Mr. Speaker, we were with the President, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, at Mukuru kwa Njenga, where he has given keys to people to occupy their new homes, Mr. Speaker. You know very well when this issue of the housing came about last year, there were so many politics around it. But today, Mr. Speaker, we are happy that we've witnessed Kenyans receiving keys to be able to get into their new homes. Coming from the slums, they were also not able to believe that it is actually happening. If we do not consider the budgets for the counties as far as the issue of housing levy deductions, what are we doing to our people in this country that are still living in the slums? Article 43, Mr. Speaker, is very clear of the Constitution. It says it is a responsibility of the government to provide affordable, good environments, comfortable environments for its citizens. And today, Dr. William has made history when he went to Mukuru kwa Njenga and handed over keys to people who are coming from places whereby even toilets were a problem. And you could see leaders politicking because you go to their houses, they have even 5 toilets. But how many toilets can you use at once, Mr. Speaker? Today, Mr. Speaker, when we factored the 465 billion, these are some of the amounts that we looked at, as I've said, the housing levy deduction. Mr. Speaker, there's also the enhanced contributions for NSSF, Mr. Speaker. This is a subject matter that we've always communicated. And the President has been on the forefront, talking about whereby people retire, you go back home, and you're still within the same, little means of what you are able to save when you're receiving your pension. But with the increased enhanced contribution, someone is able to at least live a comfortable life, a bit comfortable life, Mr. Speaker, even after retirement. Mr. Speaker, the children that we have nowadays, if parents are going to continue saying that I will depend on my children, the kind of children we have today, they are focused with their life. Totally. It's not like us that we are still taking care. So, when these enhanced deductions for NSSF, when these contributions are enhanced, then it gives retirees an opportunity to continue living comfortable lives. It is sad when people retire, Mr. Speaker, and they have to really go back to living standards that probably they were not prepared for. The other thing, Mr. Speaker, was the issue of the CIPes, the County Integrated Industrial Parks. 18 counties have already received funding, Mr. Speaker. The question is, funding has already been given, projects have been awarded, contractors have started these projects. They're at a certain level. For Christ's sake, that is where we will see bloggers going out there and say, amount X of this money, in billions, in millions, was put in this particular project. But this project has stalled. So, someone ate the money, or what really happened? And the narrative that goes out there is someone ate the money. And at times it's because we are not giving enough funding for these projects so that they are completed and Kenyans are able to see. And when I go back to the issue of the housing today at Mukuru, sorry, Mr. Speaker, it's so, it was so emotional for the families. And we were so happy as leaders because you are able to actually see the money that I'm being deducted today as housing levy. At least today I've been able to have an opportunity to see where money is going. And I'm sure by the time this project is getting finished in the next 2 years, Mr. Speaker, over 60,000 Nairobians will be occupying their own homes, Mr. Speaker. There's the other issue of our very good friends called the Community Health Promoters, Mr. Speaker. This program is very key. It's a program that is shared in terms of the remuneration between the county government and also the national government, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we've met actually the CHPs for Nairobi, and they say the national government has given us our share. The county government is not giving us our share. And this budget is about 4 billion. I'm happy because when the CS was giving us his schedules when it came to matters health, he was able to indicate that there is a budget for the community health promoters, Mr. Speaker. So this is very important because already these people are already on the ground doing a very great job, and their remuneration is very small, 2,500 from the county government, 2,500 from the national government. Procurement of new medical equipment. Mr. Speaker, how do we continue running hospitals without the right, correct equipments, the modern equipments that are needed in this country? Meeting the outstanding obligation under the doctors' CBA, Mr. Speaker. The issue of the doctors is a very, very pertinent issue that needs to be addressed once and for all. And as a committee, Mr. Speaker, because health is devolved. And if it is devolved, then governors or the county governments needs to get funding to be able to sort the issue of the doctors' CBA, Mr. Speaker. Hence the decision for 465 billion. I say like that, Mr. Speaker, because this is money. It's not pocket change. And it has to make sense for our brothers at the National Assembly to understand why are we asking that we approve the 465 billion to the county government. These are some of the many recurrent expenses for that matter, Mr. Speaker. Of course, the annual wage drift, Mr. Speaker. Every year, as you know, there's annual wage and salary increment for the staff. So where do they get the money if we don't consider this? But still, as I keep on supporting 465 to the county governors, I still keep on reminding them to sort the animal, the stinking animal, Mr. Speaker, called the pending bills. We cannot also be on the floor all the time understanding the situations at the county and pushing for more funding if the governors are also not doing what they're supposed to do. They need to ensure that their pending bills are at zero levels. I was so impressed yesterday in Kitui County whereby we met the county assembly and they reported to us that their pending bills is at zero. They have no pending bill. These are the same institutions working in the same counties. Which formulas is this one using versus the one? And the issues of, yes, I know there are challenges in terms of timely disbursement of funds from the National Treasury, but all said, there should be schedules that should be adhered to clear that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in our many observations, we note that there has been marginal growth in the county equitable share from the previous financial years, despite the substantive growth in the shareable revenue. Financial year 25-26, which is this year, while shareable revenue is estimated to grow by 10%, which is 259. Counties are projected to increase by 17.7 billion from this revenue growth, Mr. Speaker. That over the years, the county equitable share has an average of 2.23 of the GDP, and in the year 2025-26, nominal GDP is projected to be 19.5 trillion. Mr. Speaker, as a committee, we were able to make some recommendations, and we made the following. Clause 3 be amended to make a reference to Article 2021 of the Constitution, which requires revenue raised nationally be equitably between the national and the county levels. Mr. Speaker, this is an emphasis that as a committee we really emphasize because it is in the Constitution. It is not our words. We are not making this. The schedule to the bill be amended such that the total shareable revenue is 2.7. Remember I said earlier, the minister tabled and communicated that the projected revenue collection is not 2.8, but 2.7. We adopted that, Mr. Speaker. So the total shareable revenue to be at 2.756. The most recent accounts of the revenue as approved by the National Assembly, as I earlier communicated, is at 1.9 and for financial year 2021-2022. And I want also to add the National Assembly Committee of Finance to speed up on ensuring that the last audited and approved financial reports are as recent as the financial year 2023-2024. We are already in 2025. This issue of lagging behind, not approving this, the audited reports, is not really looking so good. National government share, Mr. Speaker, at 2.2 trillion. And now, this is where we say the county government share at 465 billion. Equalization fund. Equalization fund, Mr. Speaker, is something that the Office of the Minister of Finance, they are aware of these figures. They are not disputing these figures. Figures amounting to 9.6 billion. And the equalization arrears at 2.7, Mr. Speaker. Every time they've appeared, they've confirmed that these monies will be put in the budgets. It is the high time we also close on this issue of the equalization fund, because time is not on our side. The duration was to be 20 years. The duration is almost lapsing. But it was clear that the project that had started, they need to be completed. But then how they completed without funding, Mr. Speaker? This is an issue that should not actually be in so much discussion. The issue of the equalization fund should be an issue that the Ministry of Finance sorts it out completely. Mr. Speaker, with those many and few, I want to urge colleagues to really support understanding where we are coming from as a committee. The stakeholders that I mentioned earlier, Mr. Speaker, these are very experienced stakeholders that we've walked journeys with, stakeholders who understand where we are coming from. And I also want to challenge the governors. Can you see your own source revenue? Can we see what you are collecting? Is it upwards? Is it downwards? Is it, standard? We need to see the projection of the own source revenue. As we fight to support the 465, as much as I know, with the proposal 4 or 5, definitely we are going to go for mediation. I don't dispute. But as much as that discussion will be in place, can we see improvement on your own source revenue? You should be more dependent. By now, and I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, that on Thursday, and I want to remind and really urge colleagues, the issue of the formula is a very critical issue. We have our breakfast meeting on Thursday. I request that we all attend, and be able to have this conversation, because our aim, Mr. Speaker, with anything above 400 on executable share, we have ensured as a committee that no county will lose. No county will get less, Mr. Speaker. With those few, I want to really appreciate my colleagues from the Finance Committee, the Secretariat that really work closely with, and I do second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025 be now read a second time. Senator Mudigi Alexander.
Mike. Asante Bwana Spika, mimi naunga mkono mjadala ambaye unaendelea ya ugawanyaji pesa za county na pia national government. Bwana Spika, kwa hii kipindi ya miaka ambaye tumekuwa hapa katika kutoka mwaka wa 2022 tumekuwa tukitaapika, county zimekuwa na shida nyingi sana, na pia tumekuwa tukililia sisi maseneta vile county sitakuwa sinapata pesa ambaye inaweza kuwasaidia. Lakini kumekuwa na shinda ya national government na MPs na pia na treasury. Hata tukipatiwa pesa kiasi gani, kumekuwa na shinda, unakuta magavana wanalia na watu ambaye wakasahau katika Kenya mambo ya devolution. Sisi maseneta tuko hapa katika kutetea devolution. Na mambo ya devolution katika ile wakati wa zamani, devolution kuna serikali ya county zote zilipatiwa department 10. Na mambo ya ajabu Bwana Speaker, mara mingi kumekuwa na shinda kwa sababu hata zile pesa tumetua tukipatiana kule katika county government, pesa imekuwa ni kidogo, departments zingine zimekuwa hasipati pesa kwa sababu pesa nyingi imekuwa ikienda upande wa hospitali na pia zile zingine upande wa agriculture na pia upande saa nyingine wa parapara, lakini unakuta kama livestock na vitu zingine hiyo pesa haitoshi. Bwana Speaker, nataka niseme tumekuwa tukishuhudia counties nyingi magavana wamekuwa kiteseka, wamekuwa wakipata shinda kwa sababu hata wakati waliingia Bwana Speaker walikuta mambo ya pending bill na wenji bill kama Embu County kumekuwa na shinda kwa sababu hata ile mambo ya kugawa ile pesa katika county ile mambo ilikuwako zamani haikufanya mgawa pesa kulingana vile inawezekana ama vile inavaa kwa sababu tunajua Bwana Speaker kulikuwa inaonekana county zile asikuwa na njiweza silipatiwa pesa nyingi na zile county ilikuwa na njiweza ikawa imepatiwa pesa kidogo, na kulikuwa Bwana Speaker wakati itafika hizo county iweze kufanywa audit ionekane kama zile county asinjiwezi ama iweza kutumia pesa na njia ile inafaa Bwana Speaker. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, mimi naunga mkono ndio hii pesa tunasema 465 billion county iweze kupatiwa, iweze kufanya kazi kulingana na vile inaonekana. Bwana Speaker, tukiwa maseneta kila wakati wote tumekuwa tukiona health promoters daktari waikuja pale kwa ngeti na ni kitu ya hivyo sana na hakuna watu wanaangalia. Na sasa ni wakati huu tunataka kuomba serikali ya national government na MPs na treasury, sasa ni wakati wao ile finance Senate inataka ile pesa iweze kupatiwa ndio health promoters, daktari na wale watu wengine. Hata Bwana Speaker, tumeona wafanyikazi wa county government wakiserewa kupata misahara na pia mambo mengi, na tunaona vile economy inaendelea, mambo mengi inaonekana pesa nyingi zimekuwa na shinda kwa sababu tumeona kama serikali hii unakuta kama mambo ya ushuru ya nyumba, mambo ya ushuru ya SHA inaenda juu, na ndivyo inaonekana Bwana Speaker kama county government wataweza kupata pesa Bwana Speaker, wataweza kuongezea wale wafanyikazi waweze kulia. Bwana Speaker, magavana wengi wako na shinda kwa sababu tunaona hata wakati mvua inanyesha hawapati pesa ya kutengeneza barabara, mambo ya SHA inafanya kazi sahihi, lakini mambo ya shinda hospitali nyingi karibu sote unakuta magavana wanalia hakuna pesa ya kununua dawa. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, ni mambo mengi sana inafaa iangaliwe. Unakuta hata mambo ya kilimo inafaa inataka kuangaliwa ndio kilimo iweze kuwa na njia ile inafaa kwa sababu unajua Bwana Speaker, wakati tulikuja hapa katika maseneta tulipitisha kuwe na health promoters na pia kuwe na agricultural extension officers na kutoa wakati ule iende ikawa wengine wanaweza kupata pesa. Lakini Bwana Speaker, kama counties zitaweza kupata pesa na njia ile nafaa au watu wote wataweza kulipwa misahara Bwana Speaker. Kwa hivyo mimi nikiwa senator wa Embu County naweza nasema counties ziweze kupatiwa pesa Bwana Speaker. Mambo mengi tumekuwa tukisikia vile MPs wanasema ati governors ama counties inatumia pesa kulingana na njia ile nafaa. Bwana Speaker, mimi ningekataana na mambo ya MPs kwa sababu kazi yao ni wapitishe pesa ikuje katika Senate na Senate iweze kugawa mgayo kulingana vile inafaa ndio county zote iweze kupata pesa. Ni sisi tunafaa tukue ma senators kuangalia mambo ya oversight na kuangalia vile pesa inafanya kazi, lakini sio mambo ya MPs. Mambo mengine Bwana Speaker, ningeomba hata kama counties watapatiwa pesa tutapitisha budget mpaka iangaliwe kama sile pesa inaonekana hiyo pesa siwe inapatikana ndio counties siwe ikipatiwa. Na pia Bwana Speaker, mambo ya treasury tumeona mara mingi, hata nakumbuka wiki jana waziri wa fedha alikuwa nafaa atembelee katika Senate anjibu maswali, lakini tumeona hakukuja. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, hata mambo ya treasury mpaka Bwana Speaker itaangaliwa, ipiwe mshasha ionekane ama ni nini iko na shinda ndio waziri wa fedha aweze kupatia county zetu pesa, ndio mwananchi aweze kufaidika, kwa sababu wakati huu tumeona county nyingi inaweza kufanya kazi, magavana wanafanya kazi na pia waweze kufanya kulingana vile nafaa. Kwa sababu kusema ukweli Kaunti nyingi magavana wanateseka sana. Wafanyikazi wanasema mishahara. Watu wengi wapati pesa kulingana vile nafaa. Mambo mengi kama sahi. Hata nakumbuka katika Embu County kulikuwa na shinda kidogo wakati governor wa Embu County. Nakumbuka vizuri. Pesa ile wizara ya agriculture ilipitisha inue chakula. Iliserewa na gavana akaweza pesa wakati ilikuja akanunua mahindi ikiwa imechelewa, lakini wakuta mpaka sahi yende ikawa pesa nje piano nyingine ya kununua fertilizer. Mkulima yese kupelekewa na gavana. Kwa hivyo saa nyingine mambo mengine Bwana Speaker, gavana wako na anja ya kufanyia mwananchi kazi, lakini kulingana na vile iko katika pesa mbali inatoka kuna kuwa na shinda. Kwa hiyo saa nyingine tuweza kuwa magavana na shinda ni sisi ni treasury ama ni parliament ama ni mali pesa inatoka. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, tumeona mwaka jana ile pesa hii mwaka inaenda kuisha. Mambo mengi pesa hii kutosha, lakini kama Bwana Speaker, hata kama ni mambo ya mediation, hata kama wale watu tutachagua professionals katika Senate wataenda kufanya mediation na serikali kuu waweze kuangalia ile pesa isipunguzwe, iweze kuwa hata kama itapungua iende chini kidogo, ndio tuweze kusaidia ukatusi, ndio economy ya county zetu iweze kuendelea vizuri. Kwa sababu unaona kama sasa wakati walipata pesa kidogo wameweza kuangalia mambo ya kilimo, unakuta manjani, kahawa, makandamia, maembe, vitu nyingi magavana wanataka iwe value addition na serikali ya Kenya Kwanza ina support, na vitu zingine unakuta kama mirasi tukumuka iwe value addition, ndio mkulima watu waweze kuisimamisha, ndio miaka itakayokuja serikali kuu ikiendelea vizuri na serikali ya national government, serikali kuu na serikali ya ukatusi iweze kuendelea vizuri, ndio economy ya kaunti zote iweze kuendelea. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, mimi naunga mkono. Asante.
Sababu nilianza kuongea kabla umalize, naomba nimpe Seneta Mogeni Okongo Mogeni aulize.
Asante mheshimiwa.
Nimesema nilianza kuongea kabla malize.
Yes.
Angesimamisha hotuba yake anisikize mimi mwenyekiti.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, unajua hii nyumba yetu ni ya rekodi, na vile tunazungumza hapa Wakenya wanashuhudia huu mjadala kwenye runinga, na inatakana yale ambayo tunazungumza hapa yawe ni mambo ya ukweli ambayo tukiuliza swali tunaweza kutetea. Sasa nataka kuuliza hoja ya nidhamu kwa rafiki yangu Senator wa Embu. Amesema kwamba yeye anangoja siku ambapo serikali itafanya muguka iwe na value addition. Mimi ningetaka kuelewa katika sayansi yetu, Mheshimiwa Speaker, atueleze kuna uthabiti umefanywa unaweza kusema kwamba kweli muguka inaweza kufanywa value addition. Nielewe kutoka Seneta wa Embu.
Seneta Mudigi.
Speaker, ni vile nimesema mambo mengi inafaa pesa ipatikane mkulima aweze kufaidika. Ingawa hata watu wengi ni kama vile wewe mwenyewe ulikuwa hapa ulisema kama Mount Kenya wanakuwa favored mambo ya kilimo, na ukasema vile tunakuwa favored, lakini mambo mengi inafaa iangaliwe ndio mkulima wote katika Kenya waweze kuangaliwa, kama ni mambo ya ule mkulima wa mguka mrasi tukumura, na mambo ya kilimo ya majani, na mambo ya kilimo kama ya sukari, vitu nyingi ndio iwe value addition, ndio mkulima awache kutaapika. Kwa hivyo hata kama haijakuwa inakubaliwa, lakini kuna mambo inafaa ifanywe ndio mkulima yote katika Kenya aweze kufaidika.
Seneta Modigi vile aliuliza ni kama kwamba mguka inaweza fanyiwa value addition. Inaweza kuwa tengenezwa vitu gani? Mguka inaweza tengenezwa vitu gani ingine ndio uongeze faida kwake?
Mguka stokumura kama Bwana Speaker, kama inaweza kuangaliwa njia ile inafaa. Inaweza kutengeneza juice, inaweza kutengeneza wine, pia mguka inaweza kutengeneza hata dawa ambaye ya kuvuvua mili. Ile ambaye kama mtu amedungwa sindano akiwa ako hali mahututi, inaweza kutengenezwa vitu kama hiyo. Ile kitu inafaa ni kutolewa pesa ya kufanya recharge, na sio mwokavu peke yake, hata vitu nyingi. Ndio mimi namaliza. Kwa hiyo naunga mkono pesa iweze kutoka nyingi, na serikali iweze kuangalia mambo ya recharge ya vitu nyingi, sio mwoka peke yake ama mrasi peke yake. Asante Bwana Speaker. Kwa hiyo naunga mkono.
Seneta Modigi, umejibu vizuri kabisa. Umeeleza vizuri vile mguka ama miraa inaweza tafutiwa namna nyingine kuongeza dhamana yake. Who do you want to inform Senator Kalin? But it's done. But what other information do you have? Maybe you have some experience of what Mira can do better or Mogoka.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to inform Senator Mundigi that actually, as we speak today, there is a booming business of Jabba juice that is going on in Nairobi. And we have several brands. It's actually a drink. I don't want to say if I have consumed it or not, but I have seen people consuming it. It is called by brand name Jabba Juice, with different brands depending on the company that produces it. And what this has done, Mr. Speaker, is that it has expanded the base of the people who consume Jabba. Because ordinarily, there are people who would not chew Mogoka or Mira, but they are comfortable sipping the Jabba juice and feeling the Handas effect of the Mira.
Thank you, Senator Karen. Also, maybe I will advise that you should also taste and also enjoy the experience. The other benefits which come with the Jabba juice and any juice associated with the Mira, they have very good benefits. You should just try. Also, I'll ask our good doctor, Dr. Aliboni, you should also try that juice. It can really be of good benefit to you. I have that experience and I know it works so well. Senator Mboni, you are the next contributor to this motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I support this motion, allow me to acknowledge the advice you've given me that I partake of this. While you are saying it, a youth has sent me quickly, real time, we're being followed, that I ask you, does that juice have any aphrodisiac capabilities? Mr. Speaker, just for the sake of the youth who has asked.
You know, aphrodisia is only do you say about what does it mean? Do you want me to tell you what it can do to you if you partake it? That's why I want you to experience it. Just do, also maybe accompany Senator Kalen. She will show you where you can get it. And then you just try, you can try them both of you. And maybe, because also she has not experienced.
Mr. Speaker, if next time I'm found with Senator Karen in Nairobi, please make sure that you explain to the husband, Somido, that it was with your permission. Otherwise, I was not going to go out with her, Mr. Speaker.
And make your contribution to the motion.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the advice, and I rise, Mr. Speaker, to support this bill. Mr. Speaker, this is a bill that you cannot oppose because we want to share revenue between the two levels of government. What you can do, however, is in supporting it, you spot the things that are not relevant or necessary in this bill so that we make it better. Mr. Speaker, for this reason, I support and propose that this House does so, but with the amendments. Mr. Speaker, the key amendment that we shall have to do is to ensure that the money reflects the functions that the county governments are supposed to do and the functions that the national governments are supposed to do. Reading through the bill, Mr. Speaker, the National Assembly tends to overemphasize what the government has called national interest. On another day, Mr. Speaker, I'll challenge either the Deputy President, because he was the first to speak to it, and these MPs, to tell Kenyans what exactly they mean by national interest. Are you saying that the functions, some of them, that are done in county governments do not carry national interest with them? Mr. Speaker, really? Agriculture that feeds the republic
is a function of grave national interest. And therefore, counties should not be denied money on the assumption that there is a greater interest that is only discharged by the national government. Similarly, Mr. Speaker, the question of treating Kenyans is a matter of grave national interest, is done by counties. Mr. Speaker, the matter of early childhood development education is a matter of grave interest to this nation, is done by county governments, and so on and so forth. So, Mr. Speaker, we would want to urge members of the National Assembly to try and understand devolution better and appreciate that all of them come from one county or the other. And that being the case, they should not, while making a decision on the actual quantum of what goes where, be tempted to think that they owe it to the national government. When we are dividing revenue, all MPs, members of the National Assembly and senators, must ensure the proper principles of division of revenue between the two levels of government. Mr. Speaker, I want to propose that this House rises and stands behind the proposed figures of division, where we propose that the national government gets 465 billion shillings and the national government gets 2.231 trillion shillings. Mr. Speaker, if we do so, we believe, as the Committee of Finance, that we shall have hit the balance and both levels of government will be able to meet their development and recurrent mandate. Mr. Speaker, as we divide this money, the national government must know that the 2.231 trillion that they are remaining with, when it comes to development, all the 8 regions of Kenya, they must see equity. We are tired, Mr. Speaker. We are sick and tired, Mr. Speaker, to go around the country, and when you go to one region of Kenya, you find it is 100 years ahead of another region in this country, Mr. Speaker. And the only crime that the region which is 100 years behind is because a son from that region or from a community of that region has never risen to the presidency or the office of prime minister. This bad behavior of development following the region and community from which the top leadership of the country comes from must come to an end in the new Kenya. In the new Kenya, we want all our 8 regions to enjoy development equitably. Mr. Speaker, it's wrong for one single region. It's wrong for one sub-county in this republic to be left behind. All sub-counties, 290 of them, 47 counties, must, together with the 8 regions of the Republic of Kenya, be seen to move at the same pace. Mr. Speaker, in this particular 2.231 trillion that is remaining at the national government, we would like the cabinet of His Excellency, President William Samoei Ruto, the man we campaigned for, the man we support, and the man we want to succeed so that our country can succeed. We would like them to hear us clearly that we, the people of Western region, expect in this budget, we expect that for the first time since the creation of the country called Kenya, for the first time, the people of Western Kenya will enjoy the dual carriage in going home and coming to the capital city of Kenya. We expect, Mr. Speaker, a dual carriage from Nairobi to Nakuru to Mau Summit. Mr. Speaker, at that point, we expect that dual carriage to go into 2 branches, one branch to go to Kericho, and Kericho to Kisumu, and Kisumu to Kakamega, and Kakamega to join the other branch at Kabarengu in Webuye. And this other one, Mr. Speaker, because they might not know where we want the road to go through, I'm defining to them the other dual carriage. Upon diversion at Mau Summit, it should go, Mr. Speaker, to Eldoret, Kabarengu, Bungoma, Malaba border. And this will be massive because it is going to be a game changer in the economy of the Republic of Kenya. It should not be lost to Kenyans that when I say this, I'm not only saying as a patriotic son of this country who was born in the western region of Kenya, but I'm saying it as a man who is alive to the fact that if we don't grow our economy, the population has been growing much faster, we will burst. And therefore, we will be responding, Mr. Speaker, to the fact that Kenya's biggest single trading partner is Uganda. Coupled with the contribution of the trade that we do with Bujumbura and the trade we do with Kigali, Mr. Speaker, and the trade that we do with Goma, this dueling will be a game changer. And it should, Mr. Speaker, be followed by a standard gauge rail line. We insist that this is the future of Kenya. And what is more, so that I don't look like I only look at the Republic of Kenya through the prisms of where my community comes from, it's important that as we dual the western part, we should also dual the highway from Nairobi to Mtito to Voi and to Mombasa, because Mombasa is the gateway into this country, and because Mombasa is the one through which all the huge volume of trade that we do with Uganda, with Bujumbura, with Kigali, and with Juba, where it comes through. Mr. Speaker, we'd expect the national government, through the 2.231 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that the projects of Vision 2030 that were identified by President Mwai Kibaki are actualized. There is the critical project of LAPSET, the Lamu project, creating that port, Mr. Speaker. It is being done half-heartedly, as if we don't want to create jobs, as if we don't want to open the economy through the northern corridor. We need to do the LAPSET project. We need to fix a dual carriage from Lamu to Malindi to Mombasa, and from Lamu all the way to Garissa, into Ethiopia, and into South Sudan, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's only when we do this that we shall create jobs. I am one of the firm believers that our children to be afforded an opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to get jobs abroad is a good idea. But I also know that creating jobs at home is a better idea. When our educated youth leave this country to go to work abroad because we are chasing after diaspora remittances to the country, it's a good thing. But having them work at home so that all their income is earned and left here is a better thing. So, as the government pushes to push our children for jobs abroad, they have a greater responsibility to create jobs at home. And we would like election 2027 to turn on what it is that we are doing for our youth. As a father of youth, I believe that we owe it to them that we give them jobs locally. I have some of the top young professionals in my family, and I wouldn't want such a brilliant children not to work for the Republic of Kenya. I would like them to work here so that they emulate me, how I worked for this republic before I came to this parliament. The Speaker, it's not a joke. It is not by accident that the United States is ahead, that China is chasing them, that India is chasing them. It is because, Mr. Speaker, these three countries, they make sure the best of their best work at home. And in the case of China and India, they send the best of their students to the top universities in the United States. And once they qualify, they come back home to develop their own countries. Mr. Speaker, further to the road infrastructure that I've spoken to, the people of the western region of this country, which has been discriminated against for over 60 years, expect that because of the presence of the university teaching at the School of Medicine at the Masinde Muliro University, that the former Provincial General Hospital of Kakamega will be elevated to level 6 so that the university can use that institution to train our medical staff. Mr. Speaker, the people of Western are tired of waking up at 3 a.m. so as to come and catch a plane in Kisumu or a plane in Eldoret so as to be in Nairobi in 29 minutes. When all we have to do to cure this is to develop the airport in Kakamega. Mr. Speaker, yes? Yes, you can help me if you like.
Senator Boni,
yes.
Avoid the exchanging in...
yes, I am begging him. Don't heckle me, my son. At time, if God blesses you... Senator Eddie, if God blesses you, you might enjoy a long life like Omugeni and myself. And at that time, you will appreciate,
Yes,
you will have appreciated what is
just
Kenya.
a minute, Senator Boni Karwale.
Thank you.
What is your point of order, Senator Eddie Okech?
Mr. Speaker, on 105, you know, Senator Boni is throwing aspersion at me. I haven't.
105 referred to as far as that conversation.
Actually, a statement of fact,
statement
of fact for one, and then 101 on, you know, mischaracterizing a member like him, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you see, Senator Boni, first of all, has said that all the people from Western, and particularly Kakamega, and in particular people from Malinyi, where he comes from, must catch their flights in Kisumu and must catch their flight in Eldoret. As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Speaker, there's an airstrip in Kakamega, and I've seen the senator himself catch a flight to Kakamega. What I wanted to wish him the guy to do is how can we improve that airport in Kakamega so that it has a longer...
What is out of order? Maybe...
So what is out of order, Mr. Speaker, first of all, claiming that there's no airstrip or airport in Kakamega, one, and number two, to start throwing aspersions on me that I was heckling him, Mr. Speaker, when I was very quiet listening to him, and he has kept me in this house to listen to him, because I like listening to the wisdom from the bullfighter from Malenya. So, you know, you should not miscarry me. I'm not a heckler, and I'm not heckling you. I'm just listening very, very carefully, and I wish the kind that you say that we improve the airport in Kakamega.
Senator Boni.
Mr. Speaker, I hope my time was held for me, and Kenyans have heard you, and Kenyans had heard me, and therefore they'll make their own judgment. The only thing I want to say in that particular point that you have raised is remember the parable of the old man who taught his son how to fly using wings that had been fixed on their shoulders using wax. He told them, fly, but not too high. When he refused, the boy flew too high. The wax melted, and the boy came dangling. That you sit with us in this august house. Please, you sit here, you fly on wings fixed with our wax. Know how high to fly. When you see us flying, you might come tangling, I tell you. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the last point I want to make is on the issue, sorry, Madam Speaker, you have changed the speakership, is the issue of housing. Yes, the housing project that is ongoing looks feasible. But as I said many months ago about the housing, the vision of housing, I want to remind government that housing was one of the Vision 2030 projects. The reason why Kenyans continue fighting this project today, it is because of the model of implementation of the housing project. When President Mwai Kibaki put this project in Vision 2030, and it was also carried by President Uhuru, the funding model was not that the people with a paycheck, they have their pay slips raided so that they build houses for people who are desirous of owning houses. The government had to have a budget which Vision 2030 aligned with the vision of development, and most of you who live in this city, you saw the slum upgrading project, and there was no outcry. Today, the houses are even better, but there is an outcry, because the guy whose pay slip is raided is asking himself, was I born to go to school, get a job, and start doing affirmative action for Kenyans in need of housing on behalf of the government? We want, and now that President William Ruto has allowed Prime Minister Raila Odinga to give him an expert in the name of Mbadi Amana, I respect, truly brilliant in keeping with the super people of Nyanza. It's brilliant just like Tom Mboya. Mr. Speaker, Mbadi to go all out of the way so that we continue the housing project but develop a more friendly funding model than raiding the pay slips of the people. When we say these things, it's not because we are against the government. It is because we are for the success of the government, and we want a government that affords all Kenyans comfort. Madam Speaker, I was looking at a woman who I know very well from Kakamega, who had just gotten a house in Mukuru. And I was very excited. She was now going to get a better house. With those many remarks, my time is gone. I support with amendments.
Senator Eddie. Okay.
I must come for you. I thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to also share some thoughts here on this Division of Revenue Bill 2025, which is essentially a vertical share of our natural resources. And Madam Speaker, in this year, what has come from National Assembly is that we aim to have a budget of 2.7 trillion. And out of this budget, Madam Speaker, in a layman's language, the National Assembly is proposing that the national government gets 2.4 trillion out of this budget, which will represent 85.33% of the budget that we hope to raise in this next budget year, and then give counties 405 billion. To be specific, 405.069 billion. That, Madam Speaker, would represent 14.28% of the total budget that we hope to raise. Madam Speaker, I'm alive to the fact that sometimes ordinary revenue is not collected to what we hope to get, and therefore I empathize with that fact. However, Madam Speaker, the requirements of Article 203, Madam Speaker, is about equitable share of these national resources, Madam Speaker. And that equitable share, Madam Speaker, does require, therefore, that when sharing this revenue, then it behooves the National Treasury, which, Madam Speaker, I've said a time without number in this House, that I wish that the National Treasury was independent, to view the national government as different and county government as different, and then be a fair avenue for sharing resources. Because, Madam Speaker, it behooves the National Treasury to ask itself, is this sharing formula that's proposed here, the vertical share, equitable? And how will you know that it's equitable? Madam Speaker, the element of equity will come when you revisit Schedule 4 of the Constitution. Because Schedule 4 of the Constitution, Madam Speaker, does align resources to functions. And those functions, Madam Speaker, are clearly stipulated to the extent that they are national functions of government and they are county functions of governance. And Madam Speaker, time without number, that idea of equitable share is elusive to the country because we do not cost those functions. And Madam Speaker, when the CS for Finance showed up before the Finance Committee, me being a member there together with the previous speaker, the good senator from Kakamega, Senator Boni, although he likes seeing me as is more of his son's age mate than a legislator in this house, but he will remember that I told the CS that there are things that if you do, then you borderline underfunding counties, but there are those that if you do, then you are defunding counties. And I think that those two distinctions are still very elusive to the National Treasury. Because, Madam Speaker, the desire of this House, having looked at the stress that counties face with regards to the functions that counties have, and not just underfunded, but actually non-funded. They are findable, but they are not fundable by the national government, Madam Speaker. So the proposal that you give counties 405 billion, Madam Speaker, if you do the calculus, and I'll go through the calculus as fast as I can, you are actually defunding counties. And this is something that we will not take lightly, Madam Speaker. You remember the other day, Madam Speaker, on a lighter note, but on a very serious note, Madam Speaker was thrown out of this House for insisting that the CS for healthcare, for the health system in this country, Madam Speaker, should not tempt to take the payroll of universal healthcare workers to counties without following it with money. Should not even attempt, should not even dream of it. Because, Madam Speaker, For the last 2 years that we have been fighting about finance bill in this particular house, any money that is given to counties is money that is funding non-discretionary expenses. There are expenses that have emerged due to national government policy that puts constraint and stress on counties without following them with money. Madam Speaker, if you implement a policy, for instance, of housing levy deductions, it happens at the national level, and the employees of the counties also have to face the same. Yet the counties did not have that in their budget when devolution was taking root. Madam Speaker, that goes to about 4 billion that counties have to face. Madam Speaker, if you enact contributions that have bulged on National Social Security Fund, it affects the staffers of the counties. And when it affects them to a point of 3.7 billion, it was not catered for in the calculus before we got to where we are right now, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the national government, through the presidency, made a statement and a concession between them and the national and the county government that there's going to be a creation of county integrated industrial parks, commonly known as KIPES, Madam Speaker. This is a whooping 11 billion responsibilities on counties that then they must shoulder. Yet, it was not catered for in the calculus that then constituted money that goes to counties. And worse, it was not funded. The responsibility was given half to national government, half to county government, without knowing where county governments would get this. But because it's a commitment and projects are already going on, Madam Speaker, it goes without saying that then it has to be funded. Madam Speaker, we know the issue that we discussed in Turkana when we went to the to the Senate machinani in Turkana, the issue of community health promoters program. Madam Speaker, we held the view in this house that this is a primary health function that is purely devolved, and therefore it ought to have been funded and financed, first of all costed, then financed by national government, and then if it's a hallmark project, let counties deal with it. The national government chose that they will do a stipend of a half of it and let counties deal with a half of it. If you give counties money, because these people are already in their form of payroll, Madam Speaker, they have to be financed. Madam Speaker, we know very well of the outstanding issues around doctors' CBA. Counties have to face this burden if our healthcare system has to work. All this, Madam Speaker, we haven't talked about the wage drift that happens automatically in our system, where it has to be adjusted by about 5% every year that counties then have to finance. If you look at all that burden, it is a non-discretionary burden, meaning it is money that is already must be paid. You can't, there's no two ways about it. So, what does this number come to, Madam Speaker? Just to deal with those non-discretionary expenses in counties, Madam Speaker, it would mean that our counties will need up until 420 billion. So that is commensurate with that non-discretionary fund. For a bill to come from National Assembly, Madam Speaker, that proposes that counties then must be given only 405 billion, is an abuse. It's an abuse to the system of devolution that has brought hope to this country. It's an abuse to the system of equity that is proposed under Article 204 or 203. Because, Madam Speaker, counties will barely have even any money to do discretionary expenses. Among them, and the most important one, dealing with development in our counties. So this is something, Madam Speaker, that I think that we must stamp our foot on as Senate and insist on the calculus that we came up with that was giving counties or proposing that in this financial year, regardless of the fiscal stress that the national government must have, counties must get 465 billion. They must. Because otherwise, Madam Speaker, you end up running counties that are barely running a cash flow business, where they are only paying for workers, but there is no development. No development ever gets done in counties, Madam Speaker. And when there's no development projects in counties, Madam Speaker, it goes without saying that there's no money circulation. There's no money revolving in our counties, Madam Speaker. The second calculus, Madam Speaker, that I wanted to emphasize on is this courage. I don't know where the National Assembly gets this courage from. That you can be sent by the people of Kenya from your respective constituency to go and do your role in Parliament. And one of those roles, Madam Speaker, is simply to approve audited reports sent to you by the Auditor General. Simple job. Go, scan through, scrutinize, read, understand what the Auditor General has talked about in the previous year's financial statements about our entire country, and approve or disapprove it. Then, Madam Speaker, the National Assembly of Kenya, the last audited report that they have gotten time to approve is the audited report of the financial year 2020-2021. Now, Madam Speaker, the reason why this is a very important calculus is because under Article 203 of the Constitution, Madam Speaker, the requirement is that equitable share that we must horizontally share between national government and county government is predicated upon the last audited report considered and approved by National Assembly. Where is justice for devolution? Where is justice for counties and their governments? Where is justice for the people of Kenya if the last audited report that forms the basis of sharing revenue between county government and national government is based on 2021 financial year, Madam Speaker? It is absurd. In fact, I don't know where the courage the majority leader of National Assembly gets to lead a house that sends this kind of division of revenue bill to the Senate of Kenya. And that's what I'm saying, Madam Speaker, without mincing my words. We must fight that the Senate of Kenya must be a proper upper house in Parliament of Kenya, Madam Speaker. Even if it means we're going to sponsor our own bill, the National Assembly must understand the significance of legislation that emanates from a constitutional democracy, where then you must follow the Constitution and do things right. Madam Speaker, this division of revenue bill that constantly is sent to the House of the Senate without paying attention to the requirement of the Constitution, even after this, the High Court pronounced itself that Parliament should consider audited reports within 3 months, we still have 2 years pending without approval. What is the impact of this, Madam Speaker? The impact of this is, this becomes a con game from counties. And I'm using that word very strongly because if you're going to project that you're going to raise money this year of 2.7 trillion, and then you're dividing money for counties based on the financial year 2021, Madam Speaker, 2023, 2022 are not considered, which, if you do the calculus, Madam Speaker, our revenue is growing, but the county revenue will never grow, commensurate to what the National Assembly is giving to national government. This must be corrected, Madam Speaker, because if it's not corrected, then it means the counties are not getting what the Constitution requires, which is equity. Equity. Equity is the word, Madam Speaker. There is no way you can raise 2.7 billion adjusted to inflation and then you give the national government 85% of that money because there is augmented reasoning around ordinary financial, Madam Speaker. We must insist in this House, and I want to wish the majority leader and the majority whip the courage. If they cannot confront their counterparts in the National Assembly by day, they must confront them by night and have this conversation around audited reports. Because, Madam Speaker, if we use the latest audited report, counties should be able to get actually 470 billion from this. 470 billion. If you look at the last audited report, if they were approved as they are from last year. So, Madam Speaker, this is a very pertinent issue that I wanted to stress on. And as I finish, Madam Speaker, I think it is very important that I mention, Madam Speaker, that one of the amendments that cannot miss is the money that goes to the Equalization Fund, Madam Speaker. Because Equalization Fund, Madam Speaker, established under 204, is one of those clauses that is facing a serious sunset. And, Madam Speaker, the monies that are owed for the Equalization Fund, apart from the fact that it will be 20 years gone without being able to make remedy of section paper number 10 of 1965, where counties did not get proper adjustments in terms of the roads, water and electricity that was envisioned by that particular article, Madam Speaker, there is an agency, Madam Speaker, in terms of making sure that that money works. If, Madam Speaker, you allocated money for these counties to do roads, to do electricity, to give water in 2013, and it was not given, and the national government owes that money to counties up to date, Madam Speaker, what is the value of that money now compared to if it had been released in 2013? Will these northern frontier counties, Madam Speaker, that were affected by this session paper, Madam Speaker, ever get their fair share and, again, equitable development that they need to get? I doubt, Madam Speaker, because the value of money keeps on adjusting. And, Madam Speaker, because CRA under Article 116 and 117 has been given the mandate to help restructure conversation around Equalization Fund, Madam Speaker, there are some pockets of communities that equally face some form of marginalization, Madam Speaker. For instance, where I come from, the people of Kuria, if you go to a place like Komosoko Nyamusense, the people of Kuria have faced serious marginalization. If you come to Nyatike sub-county, the people of Muuru Bay have faced some form of marginalization. The people of Sori have faced some form of marginalization. If you go to Kuria East, in Migori County, Madam Speaker, a place called Masangora has faced some form of marginalization. And in its wisdom, CRA saw that they should be included in this Equalization Fund, Madam Speaker. And I know that up to over 34 counties, including where my good senator from Kakamega comes from, there are some places, Madam Speaker, that people still live in pathetic areas, pathetic lifestyle, without basic human needs. Water, roads, electricity. Yet, Madam Speaker, this is becoming a strategic debt, and I'm saying strategic because the national government has constantly secluded this fund and never given to counties, Madam Speaker. So this Equalization Fund must go back to counties, Madam Speaker. I know that my time is much spent, but I want to support that with this report the way it is. We support the report, but look at those amendments.
Senator Karen Nyama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Division of Revenue Bill is a requirement of Article 218 of the Constitution, and the main operative word for this bill is equity. And its purpose is to divide or allocate funds from the national government between the two levels of government for continuity of services and the programs at both levels. This year, the allocation of revenue has dipped, to the county specifically, has dipped from 10.4% in 2024-2025 financial year to 9.3% in 2025-2026 financial year. And the national government allocation has increased. We as a house had proposed, through our committee, had proposed that counties be allocated 465 billion in view of the various services that have been devolved. We have devolved the medical services in a big way. We have devolved education, the lower education, and so many other functions and services that the county governments are expected to give to the citizens that need financial support. Madam Speaker, this bill has, I see they have factored 10.5 billion equalization fund arrears that the national government is going to, that has been allocated to the county government from the national government as a reason for suppressing this allocation to the county governments. But while we know that actually the equalization fund is a special fund that is aside from this allocation of revenue. This bill also refers to national interest as if it's an exclusive of national government. It's as if what county governments are doing is not of national interest. National interest can be undertaken by both levels of government, so that is not a reason to have monies from counties, instead of getting increased as we go by the years, reducing these amounts. We should not contemplate a situation where instead of increasing the amount to counties, we are actually decreasing this amount. We are charged to protect devolution, and if we oversee such a trend where a bill like this passes through this House and we have noted the decrease and the suppression of allocation to counties, then it is a very dangerous trend that we should not adjudicate ourselves. So, Madam Speaker, I propose that this being a requirement of the Constitution, we support it, but these crucial amendments that we speak of, particularly the figures that are going to counties, must be looked into. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Mogeni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to also make my contribution to the Division of Revenue Bill 2025. Madam Speaker, this is one of our most important undertakings as Senator to ensure that we truly protect devolution, because our Constitution is very clear that we devolve power and resources. And I know, Madam Speaker, that you are a champion of devolution, having served in the committee that was implementing the Constitution. And you are very good defenders of this Constitution. In fact, I wish that committee had transited to be permanent so that we truly protect devolution. From the onset, Madam Speaker, this figure of 405.1 billion may look very attractive. But when you look at the percentage of our audited revenue that is being given to our county. It translates to something like 21%, though we are being told here that it's 25.5. And I was doing my calculation, it looks like 21%, Madam Speaker. We will never see the fruits of devolution if we don't give adequate resources to our counties. Because what we'll be doing, Madam Speaker, is just making our counties employment bureaus, where the resources that we send to our counties will be used purely for payment of salaries and overhead expenses, and then some little balance that remains is used to just put marams in our roads. True devolution, Madam Speaker, the way I look at it, true devolution should mean that the people of Nyamira should not think of coming to Nairobi to seek treatment. They should have hospitals all the way from a level 2 to a level 5 hospital where they can be attended to, get the best Medicare possible, Madam Speaker. And if SHA was working, and I heard a senator here saying that SHA is working, but I want to tell you, Madam Speaker, as somebody who spends time with my people on the ground, SHA is very problematic. In fact, many Kenyans are crying and asking questions why we shifted them from NHIF to SHA that is not being accepted in many hospitals, including issues of technology. Those want to, benefit from SHA, log in, they wait some the whole day, they go back to their homes. Some try to go to private hospitals. They are told, no, SHA only works in public hospitals. They go to public hospitals. There are no drugs, Madam Speaker. We're really being very unsympathetic to our people, especially the people who are down at our villages, Madam Speaker. Because us, we are lucky. We have our medical insurance. Our staff have medical insurance. They can get treatment in all our private hospitals. But what about the person in the village? My aunt who has remained in Nyamira, my cousin in Nyamira, the person who voted for me back in Nyamira, Madam Speaker. This thing is still not working. So I plead to our governors to make our hospitals functional, Madam Speaker, so that anybody seeking medical help from a public hospital can go to a public hospital, be attended to as a one stopover, so that you get consultation, you get prescription for your drugs. If there is an X-ray, you do it there, and then you go home, Madam Speaker, with medicine. But this idea of you go to Keroka Health Center or Nyamira Referral Hospital, you are attended, and then finally you are told, go and buy your medicine from a private chemist. It's not fair at all, Madam Speaker. So I hope as we year in, year out, pass the Division of Revenue Bill, send money to our counties, it can transform the lives of our people down at the county level, Madam Speaker. We want to see our counties becoming attractive, Madam Speaker, so that investors can pitch camp in Nyamira and do business there, Madam Speaker. I want to see value addition. When I grew up, my grandmother was selling bananas, just bananas. 12 years into devolution, I've not seen value addition, Madam Speaker. There's a time I was being told Nyamira will produce some wine made from bananas. I haven't seen it in any supermarket as we speak today. I was told Nyamira will produce banana crisps. I haven't seen banana crisps in any of our supermarkets. And that was the dream of devolution, Madam Speaker, that we can make our counties to become economic giants, so that those who want to do farming, those who want to do trade, Madam Speaker, can do so at the counties. We stop this thing of rural-urban migration, Madam Speaker. And then we need fairness, Madam Speaker. I'm being taxed for affordable housing. I pay tax. The people of Nyamira are paying tax. Today they watched a project being launched in Mukuru, Kwanjenga, but we don't have an affordable housing project in the county of Nyamira, Madam Speaker. So if you are launching in Nairobi, How are the people in Nyamira feeling, Madam Speaker? We should be innovative. If we are not able to do flats, go down to the villages. Those people who don't have houses, build for them, Madam Speaker. Because we don't all have to live in flats. If the people in Nairobi are happy to live in flats, go to Nyamira and look at the houses of the poor of the poorest, in grass homes. Build for them homes, Madam Speaker. Build 100 and then go and launch them, Majority Leader. That will be my wish for my people, Madam Speaker. Because we may not all want to live in skyscrapers. Skyscrapers, our New York of Nairobi, our New York is Nairobi City. But back at counties, that's what we should do. When we went to Uasin-Gishu, I had an engagement with youths in Ziwa. There's a place called Ziwa. I think one of them is called Joel. A guy is called Joel. We were in Ziwa Hospital. A very nice facility, by the way. And Joel told me, you people at the Senate, when you talk in the Senate, also talk on our needs. And he told me they have problems with SHA. SHA is not being accepted in their private hospitals in Eldoret. When they go there, Madam Speaker, they are told SHA can only be used in public hospitals. I think we have had this thing for 1 year. We have known the problems. Let us now respond to the challenges that SHA is facing. Because I can tell you, and all of us senators, if we are to be honest, there is the public hospitals have no capacity to treat all Kenyans. That's a fact. They don't have capacity to treat all Kenyans. 2, they are not well equipped with medicine. Okay? You will go to a public hospital, you will be attended, there will be consultation, but you will not get medicine. I can tell you, and God is my witness, and Senator Cherargei knows the people I'm talking about. The people at home in Nyamira who work for me used to go to a hospital with NHIF, to Ichuni private hospital. They get treated, consultation included, they get prescription, and drugs are dispensed. Now they go to Keroka, Madam Speaker, they go to Keroka public hospital, because the SHA is not being accepted in a private hospital, Madam Speaker. Consultation takes place, they get a prescription, then they are told for medicine, go to a private chemist. Madam Speaker, really, we must be sympathetic to these people down there, because it had gone into their mind that once you get a SHA card, the equivalent of NHIF, you will have solved your medical problems. Let us revisit Senator Cheruiyot, Majority Leader. Let us revisit. As
Senator
you inform
Mogeni,
me,
do you want
these
to be
people are
informed?
watching you, and you greeted them. You even took a photo with them.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether it is for lack of adequate information that Senator Mogeni is pursuing a certain point, stating that SHA does not pay for citizens when they go to private hospitals. That is not accurate, Senator Mogeni. Private hospitals, just like public hospitals as well, need to enlist. If you check on the website of SHA, there is a list of public institutions and private institutions that have so far enlisted. And when you go there and present your card, it will certainly be accepted, subject to all these other conditions that you know of any insurance card. Just like you have an insurance card, this one of Parliament. You cannot go to any facility. We normally authorize with certain institutions, especially for speciality. I thought maybe what you can do, Senator Mogeni, to help your constituents is to seek an engagement as their representative with them to know which are the private institutions in Nyamira County that have already enlisted, where citizens can go and get these services. If you struggle with that, I am willing to assist you so that you get that particular list. And I think that is information that is publicly available. So I thought probably if for one reason or the other, Senator Mogeni didn't have that information, it will be important to know, because it is not true that SHA is not accepted in private institutions. I'm sure you've seen something called RUPA, Senator Mogeni, Rural Private Hospitals Association, which used to have a tiff with SHA towards the end of last year, because they were saying we need to be cleared our bills for previously. That noise has since gone down. So they help your constituents, Senator Mogeni.
Senator Mogeni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's good to be informed by my neighbor in Kericho. But it's also good to really put the facts on record that that issue of registration itself is a problem. Most of these private hospitals have not been enlisted, the ones down at the villages. And you have, Madam Speaker, you have seen press releases by private hospitals giving ultimatum to SHA to pay their pending bills and all this. You see what happens at the end of the day, Madam Speaker? The pain is borne by the consumers of the service, Madam Speaker. So I'm raising this issue on behalf of the residents of Nyamira, and including that friend I found in Ziwa called Joel Yego, who sent me to come and speak on his behalf. And I want to be like a good citizen of this country. That he sent me, and if he gets a chance to watch this debate, he will see that Senator Mogeni is an honest man. He went to Nairobi and raised this matter. My proposal is that perhaps the Senate may consider at some stage to set up another committee to evaluate the challenges that Kenyans are facing on accessing services using the SHA card. The intention is good, Senator Cheriot, but unless the people are getting that service to satisfaction, then they will always tell you this thing is not right, this thing is not working. And the other part of the blame is actually on the counties themselves, because there are many challenges in terms of ensuring that our hospitals are well stocked with drugs. That's a major problem. In most county hospitals, Madam Speaker, especially from Nyamira, where I come from, you go to a county hospital, you'll be attended to, but you will not get drugs. So part of the blame squarely lies with our governors. I don't know whether the problem will end if we increase the allocations to counties to 45%. But again, to be honest, governors have very few ambassadors out here because of the way they utilize the resources that are sent to our counties. There is always a tendency of trying to channel resources to employment. You look at the audited accounts, Madam Speaker, most counties have overshot the ceiling in the PFM Act. Some are doing, we were looking at an account the other day that is doing 62% instead of channeling more resources to development. Then, Madam Speaker, on the other hand, let's also speak about national government, because there is a lot of money that remains with the national government, a lot. And I hope when this administration does a construction of the railway line to Kisumu, it will pass through Nyamira to serve the people of Kisii region. The plan has always been, Madam Speaker, that train will have a stopover at Ikonge in North Mogrango. But of late we are hearing rumors, Madam Speaker, that there is a plan to divert that stop to go to our neighboring county and leave the people of Nyamira out. Madam Speaker, that region has coffee farmers, that region has tea farmers, that region has farmers that supply this city with traditional vegetables. I don't know how to call the vegetables in English, but sageti, manogu. The sageti and manogu you consume in Nairobi, the bulk of it comes from Nyamira, from Kisii. So if you put that stopover in Ikonge, you will make life easy for farmers, for traders, so that you be fair to the people of Gusii region, as well as being fair to the people of Nyanza region. And I'm sure there will be a stopover either in Kericho or Bomet, I don't know, and then in Narok. Then you would have served all those counties. But anything other than that, Madam Speaker, will be a very big injustice to the people of Nyamira. I also hope that as we share this revenue, Madam Speaker, we also want to enjoy our lives as we travel to our counties. Last weekend, Madam Speaker, the underpass in this road, that the interchange to Maimayu. Madam Speaker, I don't know whether you have had an opportunity of passing through that road. Under that bridge, we have gullies. Lorries coming from Maimayu, the queue starts down. I don't know what is that junction called, the one that goes to Limuru. Simply because we are unable to repair the potholes in that underpass. Yet, every time I fuel a car, there is tax for road maintenance. Madam Speaker, every time any Kenyan fuels, especially those ones going to Narok, going to Bomet, going to Kisii, they pay tax. But that road, Madam Speaker, has remained unrepaired for the last 2 years. And we go through that pain every weekend. Anytime you leave Nyamira, some of us who are not well endowed to be Sky Team, you always wonder, will I make it to Nairobi? Senator Kalwal, we always wonder, will I make it to Nairobi? Surely, can't this money also be used to do some of these simple things, Madam Speaker? Even for our tourists going to Narok, what image do they form of our country when they pass through a road, a national road, that has those kind of potholes? It's a shame, really. A collective shame to all of us as leaders in this country. Really, something needs to be done. I'd hoped to put a question today, but I got late on hearings that were affecting my governor in the Education Committee. So I hope I'll get time to raise that question. But let the government make life easier for us. We may not be using the road, the dual carriageway to Nakuru, to Mau Summit. Also take care of some of us who go through Maimayu, Narok, then to Bomet, including our tourists. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, I also hope our governors will make use of these funds to improve our ECD facilities. You saw a picture that I presented before the Education Committee, the kind of desks at Inyameko ECD school in North Mogrango in Nyamira. How will those kids grow to love school and education if we put them through such kind of an environment, Madam Speaker? You look how dilapidated the desks are. Why can't governors have their priorities right, Madam Speaker? You saw another one I shared on Ekirbogetai, ECD Center. I am pleading with my governor, my friend Governor Nyaribo, to also use the resources that we send to our counties to make ECD classes attractive to our children, so that they grow up loving and enjoying school from their very early stage, Madam Speaker. But if you send them to a school where they fall down, their knees are hurt, they will not love school, Madam Speaker. Even this idea of, Madam Speaker, leaving those young kids to share toilets with their seniors in junior secondary is not right. So I am pleading to our governors to also make life bearable for the people in our counties, our children going to school, the school feeding program, Madam Speaker. Let them get nutritious food so that we raise a health generation. I support this bill reluctantly. My wish could have been that counties get something more than 405 billion, but for now, reluctantly, we can do with 405 billion. So I support, Madam Speaker, and hope that our brothers in National Assembly who have their aunties, their uncles, their cousins back at their counties and will be served when we improve services at counties, will support this bill in the interest of seeing that devolution succeeds and works. I support, Madam Speaker.
Senator Osoti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to also make my comments on the Division of Revenue Bill 2025. This bill basically implements Article 218(2)(b) of the Constitution on sharing, dividing the revenues between the national and the county government based on the criteria that is outlined in Article 203(1) of the same Constitution. Mr. Speaker, I have keenly read through the report by the Finance and Budget Committee, and one thing that is coming out very clearly, Madam Speaker, is that this bill is unconstitutional. I say that because, Madam Speaker, this Senate sat and passed a budget policy statement, and we said that we would like the county share of revenue to be 465 billion. That seems not to be reflected in this bill, Madam Speaker. So it leaves us wondering, why do we have to spend our time discussing the BPS when whatever recommendations that we are going to make, the national government is going to ignore those recommendations when they are proposing a division of revenue between the national government and the county government. We were very clear on 465 billion, Madam Speaker, because of increase in non-discretionary expenditure to the counties. The issue of housing levy, which counties have to bear a burden. The issue of enhanced NSSF contribution. The issue of CHP, community health professionals, promoters, where counties have to bear their counterpart funding, 50%. The issue of doctor CBA. The issue of procurement of medical equipment. And of course, the annual wage drift. All these issues informed the decision by the Senate to recommend that the BPS, in the BPS, that we should have an allocation to counties of 465 billion. But this recommendation in this bill is talking of a mere 405.1 billion shillings. That is short of a whooping 60 billion shillings that is supposed to go to the counties based on the BPS. So, Madam Speaker, on that basis alone, this bill is unconstitutional. The second aspect where, Madam Speaker, I think this bill is unconstitutional is that if you look at the projected revenues for 2025-2026, we are talking of 2.84 trillion shillings. And out of this, national government is going to take 2.42 trillion, which is about 85.53%. And the counties will get 405.1 billion, which translates to 14.28%, which is below 15% that is provided for in the Constitution, Madam Speaker. So on that basis alone, Madam Speaker, this bill is unconstitutional. And I would wish that we look at all aspects that are making this bill unconstitutional and rectify that, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, having said that, I also want to agree with the Council of Governors that if you look at, we agree that there has been a marginal increase in shareable revenue to counties for the last 5 years. But if you look at it keenly, Madam Speaker, you realize that the aggregated increase in the last 5 years is for counties is 70.9 billion shillings. But for national government is 702.6 billion, which is again below the 15% constitutional mark, Madam Speaker. So there is a lot of disparities in this bill, and therefore I would recommend that as we proceed with this bill, we will be proposing that this figure be increased to either the figure that we had proposed in the BPS of 465 billion, or a higher figure to match the fact that there has been an increase in non-discretionary expenditures like the levies, the enhanced NSSF, the county aggregation and industrial park investment of 250 million per county, the money to CHBs, the doctor, CBA, and medical equipment, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, if you also look at the same constitution, Article 229, which provides the issue of audited reports, the court made a ruling that the Houses of Parliament, that is the National Assembly and the Senate and county assemblies, must process the audited reports within 3 months after they have been submitted by the Auditor General. So that means, Madam Speaker, that the most current audited reports to be applied in this case should be for the financial years 2024-2025. But in this case, Madam Speaker, the financial year being applied here is 2020-2021. That again is unconstitutional based on that ruling of the court. And if that is done, I think, Madam Speaker, we would get a higher share of allocation to the counties, because that is denying counties a lot of money, because we are looking at reports which are actually there are 4 years behind schedule, because we should be talking about 2020, actually 3 years, 2023-2024 financial year, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, even the proposal in this bill on how they are going to share equalization fund falls short of the provisions of the Constitution. The equalization fund figure that is proposed here is below the constitutional recommendation on that. But while speaking about equalization fund, Madam Speaker, we are concerned about the delays in transferring money for equalization fund. As we speak now, we have a whooping 2.7 billion shillings that remains in arrears in equalization fund. What is happening, Madam Speaker? We cannot have that huge amount of money in arrears, even as we are talking about allocating more money on equalization fund. So, Madam Speaker, this bill, we must look at it very critically, and if we want to protect the nation in this country.
Honorable Senators, it is now 6:30 p.m., time to adjourn the Senate. Senator Osotsi will have a balance of 10 minutes when we resume. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 21st May 2025 at 9:30 a.m.